check. 1, 2, check.
John.
Can you hear me?
Hey, I hear you, man. You're on.
Okay, so I'm on live right now?
You're live right now. Yeah, my power just blew out. Let me turn the card off and then you'll be on.
Right, okay.
Let's see, where is it?
I'm not seeing video. I'm seeing the credit video. I'm not seeing. Bear with us, folks. Oh, there I am, and I see your half screen right there.
Hey.
Okay.
As soon as I was starting, the power just blew right out, man.
So we are live, and hey, everybody in the chat, thank you for bearing with us. Johnny's obviously having some serious issue with power right now, so just bear with us as we get a flashlight under him. So it looks like one of those Halloween moments, you know. And then there was a sailor, but he had died 300 years ago.
Wow.
There we go. Now I see. Now you have some
Couldn't
light.
believe it. As soon as I hit go, as soon as I hit it, lights out, everything just went out. But I've got this little generator hooked up right here.
Oh, we've used the generator before, I remember.
Yeah. So
here's Johnny Beane from a cave in Beirut visiting the owner of Bang Energy Drink.
Yeah, so as soon as that kicks in, I can jump on my laptop.
John B, it's not a headband, it's a beanie. I always wear beanies. But thank you, man.
There we go.
So hey, everybody in the chat, thank you for bearing with us as we put together our budget just got cut. Bang Energy Drink just spoke to Johnny. He's like, the quality is way down, Mr. Beane. We have to reduce your stipend. So
wow.
Yeah. So Bang gives us less now.
Extra thumbs up for this one.
Brought to you by delicious and inexpensive Bang Energy Drink, who cut our budget drastically today. There you are. So we only get to pay some of the power bill. This week it's me. Next week it's Johnny. And then the week after, it's Paul. Paul right now is doing semaphore with flags on his roof, which I have someone over here looking with binoculars so I can see what he's saying. I'm going to let you in the audience know what it is. And that's our budget right now. Eventually, we hope to bring Paul back into visual and Johnny back into light. So we're hopefully, we'll see how sponsorship goes. But Johnny, you there or are you frozen? Oh, geez. He's like Han Solo in Carbonite right now. Oh, Christ. Yeah, so Paul, it's a 2020 kind of day, kids. So let's see. Johnny's in the dark with a generator enough to power a toaster. So he'll be having delicious cinnamon toast today. And Paulie's running late due to other obligations at his other gig. So he'll be here later today, but right now it's just me and Blue Rhino. And Johnny occasionally. Let's see. Let's do a little roll call of who's suffering with me here. Let's see. I'll start at the beginning. Let's see. Ben Tom, Fruitcake Tony, Halface, Jonathan, good name, McCulloch, Dan of New Jersey, Ben, I already said Ben Tom, Hugh Caldwell, Charles Green, executive producer. Hey, Charles, what we gotta get some power here. Johnny's in the dark, man. You're the producer, you're the big boss, or one of them. Let's see. Sandra Picorni, my girl. Picorni, me love you long time. Let's see. Charlie S, Thomas Santiago, Halface, Jarhead Rock, Thunder Falcon in the house. Whoops. Let's see. Music Therapy Laz, David Scher, Halface, Jim Nicholas, Janice Lala. Hey, Janice. Who else we got? The numbers are climbing faster than I could read them. Kevin Coachell, John B. How are you, brother? Stephen Franklin in the house. Kurt S5150. Jisnik. That's like French, right? Jisnik. Would you like to go on a date with me and see Jisnik? Yeah, Jisnik. I love that name. Let's see. Vive le français. Charles Green, Edwin Crane, Chris Bevan. Let's read our executive producers list. Charles, this is who to blame today. Charles Green, Joe Christian, Wayne O.A., Thomas Santiago, Music Therapy Labs, Ben Tom, Mike Neese, Frank Corcoran, Michael the Captain Smith, David Ennis, Dan Halen, and Steve Carmichael. You become a channel member if you want more of this good time. Just click the like button. And on the Johnny Bean TV page on Facebook, leave stars, please. My girl Colleen Gray in the house. Nightbot in the house. Let's see. Edwin Crane. Jim Nicholas. Let's see. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Jesus Christ.
I got
Johnny, this is Wolf Blitzer in the Situation Room. Johnny, do you see anything where the missiles have landed?
Oh, my God.
Stephen Franklin in the house. Yeah, sort of live. Thrash metal and fun riffs. Headstock harem.
Do that. I'll just be an avatar. Oh, hurricane one. Whoa.
What was this? Everything
just jumped on real quick.
Wow, it's like a gangbang. Just everyone just jumped on at once.
I think we're back. I got to restart my computer.
All right. So what does that mean? Do I stay on? Do I sign off? Keg Sam Rock in the house.
The show runs. Once I start the show, it runs. So it's
Keg Sam Rock in the house. Poo Ninja in the house. My buddy Blue Rhino in the house. Ken Kodor, how are you, man? Let's see. Ken Kodor wants to talk more about Manowar. Paulie has all the albums. I can't believe they did like 27 albums or something. I have like 15 of them, I think. I remember that episode. We discovered how many albums they did, and Paulie had like all of them. I thought I had all of them, but they did so many others. Let's see. Wow. Colin Gray, happy Hanukkah. Yeah, happy Hanukkah to all my fellow Jews in the house. And Festivus to the rest of us. And Christmas will be next week. We'll be playing with that. I'll be wearing a very cool shirt that Colleen bought me as a birthday gift. And thank you. Look at this. Cash is rolling in. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. This is to turn the power back on, I believe. And everyone else in the chat, by the way.
False flag. Thank you so much. Yeah, McRibs for all.
You bet, man. I would love a McRib right now. Holy hell. Paulie's probably getting a McRib on the way home. He's like, we don't necessarily need to get on the show that fast. Rico B in the house. Black Wind, Fire, and Steel, the best Manowar tune. They have a lot of good tunes, man. Like I said, this is one of those bands, Manowar, that I literally just put on and just let it play through. Like, I don't have like a favorite single kind of thing. Like, I do that with like a band like Dokken. I'll be like, all right, what do I want to hear today? Hunter. Okay, so I'll punch up that track. Manowar is one of those bands I'll just put in the car and just kind of cruise along. It's just one of those play-through bands. AC/DC's like that. I was talking about that last week. By the way, AC/DC, can I point out that AC/DC is on the charts now, top of the charts, 4 weeks running now. And the only person that has matched that so far is Taylor Swift, who's, obviously a pop culture icon. So I think that's really awesome that like one of our bands, and I say our bands, an 80s metal band, can really, just bring that back. And I'm really happy to see that, just to see them on the top of the charts, getting what they deserve so richly for that album. Now, wait a second. What do you mean, Edwin Crane, the McRib kind of sucks this year? I'm up to like 7 McRibs I've eaten so far since it came back last week. I'm so freaking happy about the McRib. And you know what? I hate McDonald's. McDonald's is like just disappointment in a foam box, you know, but there's something about the McRib that I don't know. It's the one thing I can actually eat there. You know, McDonald's is one of those things that, like, you know, you take a bite and you're like, oh, it's hot and fresh and delicious. And then a few minutes later on the roof of your mouth, you're still kind of tasting it. And then you're just like, and then God forbid it gets cold, forget about it, you know. But no, McRib, I'm still eating it. You know, the fries are great, like for the first minute that they're hot. And then they become like all mealy and they leave that aftertaste, that little film on the roof of your mouth, you know? I guess it's like beef tallow or whatever they cook it in. Eesh. I don't know. Five Guys is my burger jam. That's the burger for me. It ain't cheap, boys and girls, but man, is it good. Yeah, McFries are good for greasing up the vocal cords. McFries are good for greasing up my palm so I could go home to those lonely nights. That's the only thing the McFries are good for. What do I suppose the McRib is made of? I know what the McRib is made of. It's lips and assholes pressed together. It's like, you know, pork anus all combined into a paste and formed into a rib with bones patty covered in sauce. But the pickles and onions, those are real vegetables. So, Mom, I know you're watching. I'm eating right. I'm eating very healthy. I'm getting a daily dose of 2 vegetables. And you always say, well, you eat green vegetables, John. Well, there it is. My green vegetable is a pickle. There you go. Same as you when Dad's on vacation. Just a little pickle and, well, you know what I mean. Maracuda. Ben Tom says it's McRat meat. It's even David Crosby doesn't like the McRib. He hates everything good. Van Halen, Mancuda, McRib, the Mayor Rib. The Mayor Rib. He's like McDonald's, but instead saying Mick, he says meh. So it's the Mayor Rib. Mayor Rib.
The big meh.
Mayor Donald's. Jay Hannon in the house of the great band Gizmachi with their new single. Check it out.
Jay, Jared Rock, thank you so much, man. Finally,
all right.
Power bill.
Jarhead Rock, you are amazing. Thank you, man. Super sticker, baby. Super sticker. $20 in the house. Yeah, we got $70 so far. Yeah, I'm not seeing a penny of it. Yeah. After he pays his power bill, neither is Johnny. And Paulie right now is getting a psychic impulse. There's money I'm not getting a piece of. Wait. Let's see. Jim Nicholas says, Jay Hoonan in the house. Jay Hoonan. Let's see. Janice buys those pre-cooked Lloyd's ribs. Delicious. 4 minutes in the microwave. AI Gaming says David Crosby is the new Grinch meme. That's not a bad idea. You're a mean one, Mr. Crosby. You don't like Van Halen. You make fun of Mancuda and you don't eat McRib. You look like you're already dead. You're an ugly cuss, Mr. Crosby. You're grumpy and you're alone. Nobody likes you now. Nobody likes your music, Mr. Crosby. There's one thing I could say about David Crosby. He stinks, stunks, sucks. There you go. McMahon.
Oh my God.
Welcome to Chad and Mike Neese and Zach Dong and everyone joining us late. Yeah, we've had a day of technical difficulties so far. And let's see how the day goes. And Paulie's running late today, but he'll be along. Janice Lala, If I Was a Rich Man. Yeah, that's for Hanukkah. If I was a rich man, a deedle daddle, fiddle, faddle, fo. I'm fiddling on my roof with my tool. If I was a wealthy Jew. Yeah, the Fiddler on the Roof. It's about a guy masturbating on the top of his house. Love to see that one.
The Fiddler.
Fiddler on the Roof. Hey, you get off that fucking roof. Hey, get that. Put some pants on. You're disgusting. That's why Santa doesn't like coming to the Jew's house. You know, he's like, oh, here's Mancuda. Well, I certainly got to drop off Blue Rhino's gifts and put coal in Mancuda's stockings. Good heavens, he's on the roof again. The big Fiddler on the Roof. No, guys fiddle, girls diddle. So, Diddler on the Roof is lady. There you go. Fruitcake Tony wants to know, what is today's show and tell guitar hint? Show and tell guitar. It is, oh my God, it's Evil Johnny from A Dark Universe.
Hey,
This is like Star Trek. The Mirror Universe Johnny. He's an evil Johnny with a really big dick.
of course. Is this on? You can hear me, right?
Yeah, we hear you, man.
Okay. All right. Good. There we go.
I'm expecting Mirror Universe Spock to walk up behind you now with the beard and mustache. And like Mirror Universe Mancuda, Mirror Universe Paul. And the most evil one in the world, Mirror Universe Blue Rhino.
Oh, yeah.
And Jojo the Chimp is like the sweetest guy in the world of the Mirror Universe. Eduardo Marino Porto. How are you, man? Welcome. And Stephen Franklin. So hint for today's show and tell guitar. It is let's see. Oh, you know what? I just gave you the clue right away. Mirror Universe. There's your clue. No, that actually is a good clue for today. Mirror Universe. There you go.
But it's not a mirror universe?
It's not a mirror universe. It's not an Ibanez universe, but it's related to the mirror universe. Like Star Trek, mirror universe. If those of you don't know Star Trek well, I assume pop culturally most everyone does, but let me just fill the rest of you in. For those that don't know Star Trek, there was an episode called Mirror Mirror, classic mirror universe episode where they get a parallel universe version of the characters in the ship, and they're all, mirror of themselves. They're evil. So like, as nice as Johnny is, he would be a prick in the mirror universe, his evil twin self. So if you're really nice in the mirror universe, it's totally, there he is. See, there's evil Johnny right there. See, he's looking into our universe, but he's evil. This Johnny is the good guy. He's the sweet, hey, everybody, this is Johnny Beane. This one comes on, submit to Johnny Beane. That's what it is. So that's what's going on in the mirror universe. And I love them. And they go through like, yeah, see, he's even got an evil box for sound effects.
Evil box.
Evil box. That's what that's what my mother gave to my father on their honeymoon night. Except in the mirror universe, my mother's really horny. Give it to me. Give it to me. I can't get enough. Yeah. So my mom's clutching her tits in the mirror universe right now. Yeah, see my evil Mama Cuda. Dark Mama Cuda. That's the opening theme to the Johnny Beane Submit show. Talking guitars and black metal.
Brought to you by Colonel's.
Colonel's, the most evil and yet delicious popcorn universe.
Their spicy popcorn is pretty heavy, man. It's good stuff.
The Chicago mix. I love Chicago mix, which for those that don't know is half caramel corn and half cheese corn, and it's combined. It's like salty, sweet. It's so good. And then chocolate cashews, because Jay's always talking about how good those chocolate cashews are, and I love those. So there's Jay Hoonan. Evil Jay Hannon has like a goatee, you know. Like one of those knotted goatees, and he keeps every guitar. So like he buys a lot of guitars, but he never gives them back. The companies are like, "We hope you're satisfied." I am. I'm very satisfied indeed. Yeah, he plays all Kiesels. He loves them. They're great. They're great. These are the best guitars ever.
Man.
Love it. Bone Alone. Yeah. So Dark Blue Rhino. He's a torture expert in the Mirror Universe. He's the opposite. Hey, James Stewart. How are you, man? We're going through Tech More on Tuesday issues, and we're talking about Mirror Universe. What would everyone be like? Sandra Picorni would be in the chat cursing everyone out. Fuck you all. Fuck you all.
By the way, Sandra, thank you so much. I don't know if this was mentioned yet. Yesterday, you know how I'd been saying in the past few shows, you know, David Ennis. I hope David Ennis is okay, because I haven't heard from him in like months. Haven't seen him in any chats, you know, nowhere. So Sandra sends me a message yesterday saying her and Bent Tom were like checking hospitals, like all over, like wherever David lives, trying to find him. And I had remembered, see, David Ennis, he used to text me all the time, and so I had his phone number. So
or did he send you dick pics?
No.
He sent me some. That's why I'm asking.
I never got those. But
I'll forward them to you.
No.
I'll do that now.
Anyway, so I forwarded her his number. She left him a message. He called her back, I guess, and then he called me. And so we talked for a little while yesterday, and David Ennis, he's alive and well. He's all good. He does other stuff now.
He's like, well, your show sucks, so I don't watch it anymore.
Basically, yes.
Came on, you know.
That's exactly what he said. That's exactly what he said. So, but he said he will be here Friday. He will be watching. Good. He will be tuned in Friday. So
any day Mancuda and Paul aren't on Friday, they're not here Friday. All right, I'll watch Friday. That's what we've come to. We're so desperate for thumbs up. We're down to chasing the listeners. We're down to chasing the fans of the show. It's terrible. It's like, hey, David, how are you? We haven't heard from you in a while. Do you still watch us? And while we're there, speaking of people that used to watch us all the time, are you here? And are you here? And are you here? And just read the whole list, you know, of former people, because the viewership has plummeted down to like, I don't know, what do we have? 3 in the chat? Three people, something like that.
4
and 4. Oh, my mom's watching. Okay. So yeah. Oh, hey, semi decent. So there you go. That means you're not even dressed. Actually, that's interesting. Hey, we'll take you any way you come, as long as you watch the show. We don't care if you're dressed or not. You know, turn on your chat cam and whatever. It's all good. We're desperate for viewers. Desperate. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, David Ennis, he's all good.
That's good to hear.
So glad to hear that, because yeah, it's scary when you have somebody that watches, you know, because he's watched for years, like several years, and all of a sudden they just vanish. you know?
Well, I remember we were talking, you and I were talking about Shauna. When Shauna Marie Sings wasn't on all of a sudden, and there were fires in her area, we were really worried about her. So we were like, looking online, and I was checking her her OnlyFans, and looking for any new nudes. I'll check this, Johnny. You look at her Facebook. No, and we were very worried, but thankfully she was okay, and she's just like, yeah, no, your show sucks. David Ennis told me he's not watching either, and I also decided not to watch, and I'm telling all my friends not to watch. And we're watching the Kiesel Nation chat hour.
Oh,
Kiesel Nation.
that's terrible.
Yeah, that's what they said about the show, but. Hawkeye 4077. Hey, that's a pretty cool name. I liked MASH.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for the compliment. We appreciate it. We joke, of course, but we so appreciate anyone that is lonely enough to watch our show on Tuesday Night Live. Seriously, and that includes my mom. So thank you. Yes. I mean, hell, Johnny and I are here. Paul's out getting laid. I mean, he has a real life. He has a real life. He's not, he's like, I gotta come quick. I gotta make an appearance on the show. All right, I'll see you next week. Yeah.
Hey, Amber.
Amber in the house.
See, Amber's another one that disappeared for a while, but now she's back.
She's not only back. Amber calls me day and night. Amber's like, hey, are you up? I'm like, it's 3 a.m. You're up. I'm like, yeah, actually, I sadly am. No, but we love and appreciate everybody, including Danny's Rock and Metal, who just popped in.
Hey.
So yeah,
welcome.
We appreciate it. I'm just teasing you, Amber. I know. Amber's like, I don't really. Yeah, I know. I'm just teasing. Let me show you the chat stream. Hold on.
She calls Paul.
No. Yeah, she calls Paul too. She said, Paul, I love you. What time is it? It's 3 a.m. Call Mancuda. Who was that, baby? Nobody. Paul, who was that? Nobody. Go to sleep, ladies. Go to sleep. Yeah, no, Paul has beautiful women at his beck and call. Blue Rhino is just like, who was that? I'm like, it was Amber. She's calling again. Oh, doesn't she sleep? No. So we're back with power, and welcome everybody to 35 minutes in. Welcome to Talking Guitars and 80s Metal Live.
Yeah. What was it like when the power went out? I know I was able to jump on with my phone. I was able to hit another bumper, so music did play for a little bit.
I was trapped in the green room. We have an online green room, by the way, that for those that don't know how the chat and the show works. We have an online green room. Johnny's in the main room. I have to sign in, Paul has to sign in, and then we wait in the green room until until Johnny lets us in and brings us on. So I'm trapped in the green room, and I'm looking. I see the opening screen, the title card, Talking Guitars and 80s Metal Live. And I'm like, where's Johnny? I see it's live. And I'm like, okay, so the title card is live, but my mic is not working because I'm backstage. And then, I don't hear you or see you at all. Yeah. I'm like,
That's what I saw. I saw that.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. It was right when everything was about to start. Just everything just went out.
Yeah, and then you brought me on, and then you came on, and it was like you were like in the dark. I thought you were in the closet. It's like we have people in the house. John, call 911. Someone's in the house. Yeah. Yeah, and John B says there's some crazy folks in the chat. We have an awesome live chat going on. We really do. Like the best fans of any show ever are in our chat. So thank you all for like tuning in tonight. Or if you're watching in the rerun, we appreciate you too. But it's really fun to be part of the chat. So yes. Yeah, John B says Johnny was making a grand entrance and then the generator went out. So Johnny's thinking he's got like line dancers of women, he's got cows and horses, and he's like, ready everybody? Do 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 Oklahoma where the boo. Yeah, and then it went out. Then it went out.
The hamsters slowed down.
It was the hamsters are on the wheel. They stop running. Like, whoa, Beane. We need 5. Give us 5 minutes. We need 5. But the show, no, this was like the opening to Oklahoma. It was like, a cast of hundreds and,
hey, D.
live animals.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I do have to go and shut the flap out there. So,
what are you keep them in your underwear? What are you doing?
Yeah,
I got to make sure the chickens are tucked in, so I got to close my flaps so no one chokes them. Bizarro J. Hoonan in the house. See, this is what I'm talking about. I love Kiesel guitars. They have the world's best customer service. In the Bizarro Mirror Universe world, they do. I'm telling you, this is the Mirror Universe world that today seems to be watching the show. I don't even know if that's the real Johnny over there. That may be Dark Johnny Beane. And there he is. There's Dark Johnny Beane looking in on our universe. Look at that. Jesus, he looks maniacal. See? So Dark Johnny, what are you going to do to those chickens today?
I got to go shut the door.
Dark Mirror Universe Johnny would go, we're having chicken fricassee tonight. Why do you ask?
All right, I'll be right back.
There you go. See, in the Mirror Universe, they do parallel things. That's pretty wild, right? For all I know, there could be like a big battle going on near the chicken coop right now where like doppelganger Johnny is with our Johnny and they're wrestling and beating each other up to return and not tell me who's coming back. So for all I know, like, Dark Johnny could be ambushing our Johnny, our sweet little Johnny, and Dark Universe Johnny could be coming back and so, Mancuda, yeah, and you don't know what havoc could be caused. In the Mirror Universe, JoJo the Chimp is like super sweet. He's everybody's favorite, and Blue Rhino is real mean. So, no. Yeah, and right now, as they're fighting, that Star Trek battle music is playing, that dun 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 dun, and Johnny like throws a body kick and flips him like Captain Kirk does. It's how like Captain Kirk, when you watch the old Star Trek, has that stylized fighting, where it's like there's a certain style of fighting that Kirk did. And he always got like a cut across his shirt, Let's see. Papa Blue in the house. While Johnny's tucking in the chickens, let's discuss a little of what's going on in the rest of the world. Let's see. My mom introduced I called her up this week and she goes to me, she's like, I was just meditating. I said, what Mom? You were masturbating? No, John, I do that to relax. You masturbate to relax? No, John, I meditate. So I'm imagining meditate. I said, what do you do? So she has this program on her phone. It's an app. and it basically walks you through meditation. So you're basically going and you're like, breathe in and relax. Let all your problems out. Inhale, deep one, and relax. Exhale. Except I can imagine when my mother does it, it's probably something more akin to think how disappointing your son's lifestyle choices are. Breathe in. And how disappointed you are he's not married or giving you children. Yeah. So that's what's going on with my mother this week. Anyway, let's talk about a great new song that's Steel. 43 minutes in, we're actually going to talk about music too. Steel Panther has come out with what has to be the coolest song of the year. It's called Fuck 2020. I mean, how much better of a topic can you actually do than Fuck 2020? And it's not a sex song. It's like a, fuck you 2020. It might even be called Fuck You 2020. Maybe it's either Fuck 2020 or Fuck You 2020. But the lyrics are Fuck You 2020. And they're basically going over what we all feel, which is 2020 has been the biggest dick in our asses, unless you're into that sort of thing. And it basically, it just sucks. It just sucks. Exactly. So, between all the stuff we've gone through, between the pandemic and the politics and
the power outages,
the fires, and I mean just everything has fucked us in 2020. My big breakup at the beginning of the year or early on in the year that I'm still sad about. My gaining weight as I binge eat through a pandemic, all the things that are terrible. Johnny losing his hat for a week. I mean, all the horrible stuff. So Steel Panther has really put out a great video. Check it out. Fuck 2020 or Fuck You 2020, whatever it is. Just put Fuck 2020 in there, and it'll definitely come up. Thunder Falcon wants to know: do I have a Satchel signature guitar? I brought on both to my show and to Fruitcake Tony's show. Show me your pick. I brought on a guitar owned by Satchel, a BC Rich Gunslinger. That it was blue with a pink flame on it, and he used it during the Danger Kitty days when he was doing those commercials with Steel Panther for Discover Card, which was a credit card a few years back. So, and I mentioned that before that I ran into him at NAMM and I was telling him that I had this guitar and what he remembers about it. And he went nuts. He was just like, oh my God, I can't believe I was wondering for years what happened to that guitar. I borrowed it from the studio and I used it and I tried to buy it and they wouldn't sell it to me. I didn't know what happened to it because they didn't have it anymore after a few years. And I have a poster of me holding it and playing it over my bed. He's like, I always wondered what happened to that guitar. So, now I have it. It's very cool.
You're like, I own it.
Yeah, I'm afraid this guy asked me to borrow it. Oh my God. I look at it every night I jerk off. There's the poster. Oh my God. I wish I could come on that guitar one more time because I used to do it all the time. And then I'm like holding the guitar. I'm like, do you want it? Do you want it back? It's like, now I got to wash it. I don't know what happened. Nah, Satchel's awesome. But yeah, I do have that guitar of his. So look, we all hate 2020, and I love Steel Panther. I think they're one of the cooler bands out there. Always fly their colors. They're fun. They're funny. They could play. He could sing. Great stuff. Play the shit out of that song just to get some frustration out, because I know, I can't take it. I fucking hate 2020 so much. It's like I just want to like drop it off a roof. Yeah. Sandra Picordi goes, Mama Mancuda, what do you think your son show here? Proud mom, you must be. Yes. It's like, and what's funny is my mom does tune into the show, and her favorite thing to say is, John, I don't sound like that. I'm like, Mom, yeah, you kind of do. Yeah. So there you go. It's the disappointing Jewish mom meditation that is going on. It's just, she just thinks of the most disappointing things in her life, me being one of them, of course. And, just, and again, Ms. Mancuda, breathe out the disappointment, let out the disappointment you have in your son's career. And in a bigger frown, Mrs. Mancuda, a bigger frown. That's it. Let out all your frustration. Yeah, check GS. Tell me about it. You say that's annoying. Try it when she does it on the phone with you. Actually, the worst thing my mother does on the phone with me is she says, hold on, I've got to water pick my teeth. And when she does that, it's like a jackhammer in my ear. Like I'm talking on the phone and say, hold on, John, I just got to water pick my teeth. I'm thinking she's actually jamming a giant vibrator up her coochie, but she says it's a water pick, and I don't know. All I know is it sounds like construction going on the other end of the phone, and she keeps me there. Just hold on, don't go yet, John. Just hold on. I'll be back on the phone in a minute, John. Hold on. For all I know, she could be blowing somebody. And hold on, John. And then my mother turns into Charlie Brown's teacher, trying to talk to me. What's up, Mom? I said I'm very disappointed in your shitty career. Oh, all right. Yeah, so there you go. Speaking of shitty career, Bang Energy drink, delicious Bang Energy drink. Always on time for my mother's disappointment. Thank you, Bang Energy drink, for being a dear friend of the show.
Looks delicious.
It really is. And I have two flavors today. I'm finishing off a Sour Heads, and I opened a fresh, delicious lemon iced tea, which I really like. I like their lines of iced tea.
That one sounds good, but I can't take all the caffeine.
This one's lemon.
I can't take all the caffeine in that stuff. So,
well, this thing will put lead in your pencil. Let me tell you something. You'll have a Bang Energy drink before bed, and give a little to the missus, and she'll wake up in the morning. Johnny, we need to get you a case of that stuff. That stuff, I've never had a night of passion with you like that. I mean, when they call it bang, they mean bang. I mean, yeah. Mancuda, where's my Cialis? Mancuda, my erection. Imagine a night of passion with David Crosby. Is that schmuck even married?
John Biel.
The only guy that looked like that looked better than that always got laid was our dear friend Wilford Brimley, who I heard recently got reincarnated as a cat. Did you hear that, Johnny?
I heard about that.
I heard he got reincarnated as a cat, which is okay, because as long as his spirit's still floating around, we miss our friend Wilford Brimley. Has he checked in with you, Johnny?
Yeah.
He sent you a message, a photo of how he's doing? Let's see.
He's dead.
Meow beat us. Meow beat us. Look at that. There's our buddy Wilford Brimley. God bless him. We love Wilford Brimley. Meow beat us.
Oh.
There he is. You just want to pet his mustache. He's the only cat that loves oatmeal. Look at that face. Is that great? Really looks like him, right? Meow beaters.
But it also looks, a little similar to this guy too.
Nah, David Crosby though. I mean, there's a difference. Wilford Brimley was elderly, but like in a sexy kind of way. Women liked him. He was charming and always looking after your health. David Crosby is just that old dick down the road that just fucking, you kids get off my lawn, man, baseball. Get off my lawn. We think your songs suck. Yeah, Ben Tom, Wilford Brimley, sadly, he died of beatus earlier was it earlier in the year, right? Earlier this year. Right? Did he die before, or I don't remember.
Did he?
Did 2020 take him too? I don't know. 2020 took everybody. Jesus. Colleen says Crosby looks like the Gollum with hair and a mustache, just meaner. The precious
Anthony Wilford Brimley was an American actor and singer.
Sure was.
He was a singer?
My diabetes is over the ocean. My diabetes is over the sea. My diabetes is over the ocean. Make a bowl of oatmeal for me.
September 27th, 1934, August 1st, 2020, was an American actor and singer. 1. After serving in the United States Marine Corps and taking on a variety of odd jobs, he became an extra for Western films, and in little more than a decade he had established himself as a character actor in films such as The China Syndrome, 1979, The Thing, 1982, Tender Mercies, 1983, The Natural, 1984, and Cocoon,
Wow.
1985. He was the longtime face of television.
He was in Cocoon?
Company.
Is that
2.
true?
He also promoted diabetes education and appeared in related commercials for Liberty Medical.
That's all I saw him in.
Holy shit. What is Siri on cocaine? What the hell? I've never seen her flying high like that.
Actually, I did see him in a movie with Telly Savalas.
He was in a billion movies. We went over this. He was in a billion things. God bless him. He was in Star Wars as Boba Beatus. Remember? Or Empire Strikes Back. 40th anniversary for that movie, by the way. One of my favorite movies of all time. Anyway, so there you go.
Star Wars?
Yeah.
Oh, he was in the holiday special?
No. I was saying he's Boba Beatus.
Oh no, that was the other dude in holiday special. The other guy from Honeymooners.
Art Carney. Art Carney was in the holiday. See, this is funny about Johnny. For those that don't know or are new to the show, Johnny doesn't watch a lot of pop culture movies. Paulie and I do. But when Johnny comes on, he's always like, yeah, no, I never saw that movie. What was it? Raiders of the Lost what? Yeah, no, I never saw that.
Lost Me?
Yeah, what was that? That was Forrest Who? Forrest 2 with Tom Hanks? Yeah, no, Johnny doesn't watch
Matt Gump.
So when Johnny pulls out like a pop culture reference, like, oh, the Star Wars holiday special?
It's
yeah, that had
ago.
Art Carney in it. And it's like, how do you know that? But you don't know, like,
I watch a lot of older stuff. Although I did watch Pineapple Express.
Oh, there you go.
Week.
There you go.
That was only 10 years ago. So
no, there's a good thing. Ben Tom says, Master Beatus. Beatus my meatus. Let's put on a photo of Wilford since we're giving tribute to him. We love Wilford Brimley so much. He was a good friend of the show. That's my other oatmeal. There he is in the bottom left corner as a member of the show. Look at him. Member of Popcorn, the band. We love Wilford. And Wilford loved Colonel's Gourmet Popping Corn. That was his other fiber. Because God knows, popcorn is good for your heart, right?
I love popcorn.
Yeah. Yeah, why not?
Especially Colonel's.
Colonel's. And when you order from Colonel's and mention Johnny Beane or Jay Hannon, you get a discount or some sort of bonus. I don't even know what it is. But I know you get something. What is it, John?
You get an extra smile, I think.
No, they give you something. What do they give you? I don't know. They either throw something in or they give you a discount. They do something. They do something. Just order it. It's good stuff. It goes down with Bang Energy Drink. Let's see. We're talking about Wilford Brimley. Let's see. I seen Cocoon in the theaters. Remember those overpriced things? Yeah, theaters. We'll get those back one day. Just keep wearing your mask and wash your hands. We'll go back to theaters one day. Colleen says he was in a show called Our House in the 80s.
Oh, and he was like really mean. Yeah.
Well, Cocoon is my big thing for him. And those oatmeal commercials. Those oatmeal commercials were the best. He's sitting there kind of grumpy with a bowl of oatmeal. That's cheap. About 9 cents a bowl. Good for your heart, too. Lower your cholesterol in case you get the diabetes.
Wow.
Yeah. God bless you, Wilfred. So we're glad to see he's reincarnated as a cat right now. You never know where Wilfred's going to pop up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, Colleen brings up he was 49 when Cocoon came out. It's mind-blowing. It's mind. He looked 89, but he was 49. God bless him. Anyway, speaking of Boba Beatus, Johnny, Google Mandalorian vibrator. Bring that up. For those of you shopping for those holiday gifts, for those lady Star Wars fans, we have this. You got it, Johnny? We'll put it on screen so the audience can laugh with it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Here we go. This is the Mandalorian. It's a vibrating dildo shaped like the Mandalorian, and you get a Baby Yoda butt plug with. Now, make no mistake. I hope his ears are soft and flexible, Johnny. Otherwise, we're gonna rip someone's anus apart. But pardon the pun. See, that's the Mandalorian, the new vibrating dildo. Look at that thing. For the Star Wars fan that you know. And scroll down so they can see the rest of it. There you go. Look at the length and girth on that with a 2-year warranty. This is the way. This is the way. For the ladies in your life that are Star Wars fans, I know some of our audience is. And that's a great show, man. Who doesn't love The Mandalorian?
I have not seen it.
Right now, all the girls are like, Grogu, no, that's not the way. You have not seen it? So you don't.
You have to have Disney, though. Disney Plus or something?
This is very un-Disney. I don't know. I don't know if this is actually licensed or not by Disney. What do you think, Johnny? Do you think Disney licensed this? You go
these days? Yes.
Go into Disney World. Yes, I'm looking for a stocking stuffer. And my girlfriend is a very big Star Wars fan. Oh, does she like The Mandalorian? Oh, yes. She loves that little Grogu, that little baby Yoda. Oh, she would just squeeze the stuffing out of him if she could. Oh, well, if she clenches her cheeks now, she can. What? I'm sorry, excuse me. This is the way. Look, the Grogu butt plug. A little Baby Yoda butt plug? But these ears, they look sharp. Well, it depends how kinky your significant other is. And here you are. Here's your Mandalorian vibrating dildo. Terrific. Look at this. And we throw in a copy of Escape from Witch Mountain if you buy it now. Oh, this is the way, boys and girls. This is the way.
Yikes.
Stuff those stockings. The Mandalorian.
I did see a clip though from it on YouTube. I saw.
So you've never seen The Mandalorian itself?
I don't have Disney. You have to have Disney, right? HBO or Disney Plus?
Yeah, I mean, you have to have Disney Plus, but you could stream it. There's ways.
I have not seen it, although I know a guy who was in it.
Oh yeah?
He was an extra, yeah.
Did he play Grogu?
I don't know.
Well,
he was in a couple of them.
Grogu's Baby Yoda. He didn't play.
No, he was in like some action scenes, like running around and shooting stuff. And
yeah, I need to get on that show. If anyone in casting is watching,
I know
piece of shit we do on Tuesdays, please give me a ring because I need to be on that show.
My old fitness trainer was on it too. He's an actor.
Stuntman or
no? He played he was like a background guy.
Oh,
so
cool.
I've never seen it, but I know two people that have been on it.
Oh, that's cool. No, Bill Burr was on 2 episodes actually, and he's terrific. I love Bill Burr. Yeah, and if you haven't watched Bill Burr yet, watch F is for Family, the animated show. That's terrific too. He's so good. He's such a great. He's good at everything.
I have a friend who's on that show. He does a voice on that. Does several voices on that one.
But you know which friend doesn't? Me, and I should be.
I know everybody on everything else.
Yeah, I know. It's like, man, I know all these casting directors, and none of them are coming for you, man, Kuda. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm not working all year. What the hell? Other than on the internet. But I mean, I need some more network TV. Yeah. Someone was speculating that Baby Yoda is Jewish, and his real name was Groguowitz, originally, and they shortened it for the show. And because he's got the ears, and I was thinking about it, I'm looking at him, I'm like, well, maybe he might have had a nose job. Put up Baby Yoda for a second.
I just got him.
No, there's Baby Yoda Ned. Ned Goo. Hi, Ned. How cute he is. Yeah, put up an image of Baby Yoda, Johnny. I want the audience to see what I'm talking about. Because you look at Grogu.
Oh, that's his name, Grogu.
Yeah. Yeah, they revealed his name. I still call him Baby Yoda, but
shouldn't it be Groga?
Well, it was Groguowitz. And they changed it to a stage name. I mean, if you look at Yoda looks Jewish too. But he's certainly got the ears like my grandpa, rest in peace. And he dresses like my grandpa. Like, what do I need to dress up for? I'm just schlepping around today. I don't need to dress up anything fancy. But I think he had a nose job because look what a perfect tiny little nose he has, So I'm thinking like, at some point there was like a moil came up, like a Jedi, a Judai, which are the Jedi Jews, Return of the Judai. They're the rabbis of the Jedi Order. And he took like a little lightsaber and he's a moil, and he circumcised him and, with a little lightsaber. Oh, look, okay, everybody drink up l'chaim. Yeah, so I'm thinking he got circumcised with a little lightsaber by one of the Judai. And then the nose job and Groguowitz. That makes a lot of sense. But he's an adorable, they cut his little schmeckle, but he's adorable as hell. I mean, who doesn't love Baby Yoda?
So that is Yoda though? That is
No,
Yoda?
it's Yoda's race. It's not Yoda. It's they call him Baby Yoda because they don't know what to call Yoda's race, and he's unique. So they called him Baby Yoda, but now his real name Grogu was revealed 2 episodes ago.
Grogu. That sounds like something you ordered.
That sounds like something in my pants. I grow, and it gives me some goo.
I just ordered a box of Grogu.
I put. There you go. Grogu over pasta.
Wow. No, but there is years ago. I think there is a Yoda, like whatever he is, like his race. I think it was.
Ben Tom is right. They originally called him the child. Then we as fans call him Baby Yoda, and now he's officially named Grogu. Thank you, Russell's honor. Yeah, he grew up to be a butt plug. Spaceballs, the butt plug. Love Mel Brooks. So that's one Christmas gift that you can get. We'll go over a few others. Guns N' Roses has a new series of pinball machines. Put that up, Johnny. Because Slash was talking about this the other day.
David Ennis, is that you?
There he is.
Is that you, man?
He didn't finish his sentence. He's like, "Hello, Johnny." The guy dropped dead right on the show.
No,
Jesus.
No.
We lost him again.
No.
Oh, man.
No.
Johnny B.
No.
Johnny, Guns N' Roses. When they get older, they'll be called Gums and Noses. Take me down to the Paradise City. It's in Florida, and the women have saggy titties. Oh, where do I live? Someone take me home.
Is it which?
Guns N' Roses, new pinball machines.
A new one? Because there's a bunch of them.
Well, apparently there's like a new series of them. And if you're looking for like a real unique Christmas gift. Actually, speaking of Christmas gifts, while you guys are looking that up, if anyone is looking to buy any props from the TV series Lost for someone for Christmas, message me on Facebook, send me a message, and I will send you a price list of what I'm selling this holiday season from the show. Okay? So I have a bunch of stuff for fans of Lost. Props from the show, pieces of the show. And I sell them every so often, so I'm offering them for the holiday. Is that the new one?
It's from October.
Yeah, okay. There you go. Do you have a close-up on that? That's badass, man. And again, so I have arcade games in my house. I have the space for them. If you don't, you may want to think about getting rid of your children. Just to make room for something cool like this. Brand new Guns N' Roses pinball machine. I mean, come on, who wouldn't want that in your house? Paulie and I are always talking about the old Kiss pinball machine. Here's another example of just some cool piece of rock memorabilia that I just love that stuff.
Who's this? No.
Oh boy. Yeah, don't go there. Don't go there.
Is that the one that was getting her hair done or something?
I don't want to talk about politics. I've had enough politics for 2020 to last a million years. So there you go. There's the new Guns N' Roses pinball machine. And there's also a new Led Zeppelin one in the works as well. Let's see if we can find that one as well.
Slash, he owns a lot of pinball machines. 7.
Well, he's got the money for him.
Let's see. And there's a Zeppelin.
Yeah, there's a Zeppelin pinball too. Probably a different story. Let's see if you could find it.
Did you see the Jimmy Page thing? How he was talking about
downloading.
Yeah,
money.
like Spotify or something.
Yeah, it's like what we talked about last week. Guys and girls don't realize that when you download a song, you're thinking, okay, they get a piece. They get a piece. The musicians get a piece. I think it was one of the guys. It was one of the guys from Tesla that brought it up. I think it was like Tommy Scooch or something that brought up, and it was when you download a song 42,000 times, the band gets 42 cents. They've got to adjust that shit. That's
4 to 2 cents.
Yeah, right. It's like residual checks I get from old acting gigs. It's like 1 minute it's like, oh, here's an extra $200. And then it gets lower and lower. And eventually you're getting checks for like, 3 cents. Or I've literally gotten checks for 0 from Disney that literally, they literally will send you a check for 0 saying, you made, whatever, $1.17 for this one showing on cable of, pick something, a Marvel Super Squad. And, you made $1.17, but you got it subtracted from taxes and Social Security, and you get 0. But we're sending you a notification for your tax purposes. I'm like, what the fuck? So the government got my $1.17 and I didn't. So there you go. Those are the new Led Zeppelin machines. For those of you that enjoy classic rock, Led Zepp, that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are neat.
The one with the flying angel I like. Stairway to Heaven one.
I like the middle one. That's the classic.
The classic Zeppelin look.
Yeah.
What's that one on the end of? It's like a psychedelic kind of.
The one on the left?
Yeah, it looks like Joe Satriani drew all over it.
That's Led Zeppelin 3? 2?
I don't know, because the first 4 albums I got for the first 4 albums I got the box set, so I didn't know.
Oh, I used to have all their albums on vinyl. And then they
back in my day, I had them on Victrola. I bought the. Yeah, I was there when they recorded it. Meh, Zeppelin.
I was hiding in the basement.
I was stealing their songs. You prick. David Crosby, you prick. I'll never forgive David Crosby for what he said about Eddie. Never.
I stole Neil Young from Led Zeppelin.
They were going to call it Nash Zeppelin, but I put a stop to that.
Led Nash and Zeppelin.
And Colleen brings up, who hasn't seen the Eddie Van Halen and Jason Becker video yet? For those that don't know, there's an old video of Eddie Van Halen visiting Jason Becker, and I'm not gonna talk about it, but you should see it. Did you see it yet, Johnny?
I saw it 2 weeks ago.
Okay, well you should have told me about it.
I couldn't tell anybody about it.
Oh, okay, I got you. Well, Colleen, this is on you then. You should have told us about it. But yeah, no. So if you haven't seen it, it's just, it's a beautiful video. I don't want to give anything away, but just, suffice enough to say, and Colleen worked on it too. That's cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Dwight Bailey, welcome.
No. Hey, Dwight. Yeah, I heard about the video years ago. Well, we'll go back. I heard when Eddie went there to Jason's house, I heard literally a couple days later, way back in 96. I guess it was August of 96. I was hanging out with my friend Dave Lopez at Soundwave Studios in Oakland. And he's like, Johnny, guess what? He's like, Eddie was just over at Jason's house. They filmed a video for the ALS Jerry Lewis telethon.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw that when that was on TV, when that ran. But all these years, I've always heard that there was this video. And then when I was at Jason Becker's house for one of his birthdays, probably 3 years ago or something, Jason told us that there was video of Eddie there at the house. And then there it is. It just came out the other day, thanks to Colleen and Dave Lopez and Jason, of course. And yeah, if anybody's not seeing it, I would think a lot of people have, because it's like 400,000 views, since
our audience is too busy watching reruns of Talking Guitars and 80s Metal Live. They're like, let's see, Mancuda or Van Halen and Jason Becker. You know what? I haven't seen Mancuda 3 months ago. I missed an episode. Let me watch that first. It's like, yeah, huh? Yeah, no, it's a great video, and you did a great job on it, Colleen. And obviously, shout out to Jason, and
yeah, it's amazing, and yes, yeah, check it out if you haven't seen it. Although it's everywhere, and we're cracking down on people bootlegging it. There's people reposting it in other places, putting their branding on it, and it's like, nah. Not cool.
Yeah, mom, what do you think about bootlegging the Van Halen Jason Becker video? Oh no. Yeah, every time my mom calls me up, what should I watch tonight? There's a movie on TV, and I don't know. There's a lot of movies, Ma. Just pick something. How about that Van Halen Jason Becker video? Should I watch that tonight? Yeah, watch that. I don't know. It's so long. I don't know if I can handle it. Mom, it's not Dad's cock. It's not long, and you can handle it. So yeah, just
it's not the Mandong-Lorian.
Yeah, the Mandong-Lorian is a tower of penis power. Mandong-Lorian.
Medong-Cooter.
Medong-Cooter. I'd like to jam the Mandong-Lorian right up David Crosby's keister. Jesus. Yeah, but it's a great video.
Mm-hmm.
My mother keeps telling me, she's like, I really want to watch that movie, An American Pickle. I'm like, yeah, no, that's a great movie, but I don't know how to turn on HBO Max. I think I have to download it, and I don't know how to do that. And I can't explain that to her over the phone, so I don't know. So she's like, well, do you know any other way to watch An American Pickle? I'm like, I don't know, Ma, just pick another movie. But I'd really like to see An American Pickle. I know, Mom. I know. We'll get to it. Let's see. What else we got? Oh, this is a very, very cool story from Don Dokken. And you guys all know I'm a big Dokken fan and whatnot. So Don Dokken was reflecting on his friendship with the late Frankie Banali, the late great Frankie Banali of Quiet Riot, passed away. Another one we lost this year, unfortunately. And we are a while away from show and tell, boys and girls. I see you in the chat chomping at the bit. It's a good one, too, so just hang on. So anyway, Don Dokken's talking about his friendship with Frankie Banali. Him and Banali have been friends since the 70s. He knew him from back in the scene. And, Don and Frankie go way back. They were playing at Gazzari's and the Starwood and, all the Sunset Strip shows. And, he's telling how, he knew Frankie when Frankie was, in the original Quiet Riot lineup with Randy Rhoads and, him and Van Halen and Dokken, an early version of Dokken, Quiet Riot, and Van Halen were all playing, I think, at the Starwood in the late 1970s. And, they just, were blown away by Eddie. And obviously Randy had just, it was like 2 shows before he came into joining Ozzy Osbourne's band, before he did the Blizzard of Oz thing. And, so he's known him for a lot of years. So fast forward, Dokken does some early shows in 1979 in Germany. And this was before Dokken's lineup was solidified. So he had a drummer that left and then did a few more shows, had another drummer that left. And he's like, geez, I need a drummer fast.
Were they like Spinal Tap's exploding drummers?
Yeah, where the drummers just kept dropping off. Don says one was a Scientologist, and he left, I guess, to go off on the mothership somewhere. And the other one, I remember the other one. I think just left. I don't know. Maybe he wanted to stay in Germany and enjoy the schnitzel somewhere, and or stick his schnitzel somewhere. Anyway, Don Dokken needed a drummer, and he was in a pinch. And, because he was friends with Frankie, he's like, hey, we have some shows now and I don't have a drummer. And this is about 1980. And he says, I don't have a drummer. I really need a drummer. Can you, be our drummer for a little while? Benally had a Corvette, had a 65 Corvette that you could see him driving, I think in the Dokken It's Not Love video. And he's driving it on the side of the truck. And Don was, a hobbyist of Corvettes. Don had a 63 Corvette split window, and he knew how to fix them. So he knew Don Dokken was basically a Corvette mechanic. And he said, I'll tell you what, you fix the brakes on my 65 Corvette, because I have no brakes and I have no money, and he's struggling, and, Quiet Riot wasn't what it was yet. And he says, I got no money, I got no brakes. Don, if you fix the brakes on my Corvette, I will join your band for a little while and be your drummer. So Dokken goes over to his house in LA, and right there in the street, he just illegally puts a jack under it, jacks it up, puts it on little stands, and he's there in the middle of the street, just pulling the tires off, changing the brake pads. I mean, this is Don Dokken, and Frankie's looking, and he's like, all right, so there you go. And sure enough, Don changes the Corvette brakes, puts the car down, and says, all right, you're my new drummer for a little while. And sure enough, so Frankie Benally was, not a pot to piss in, but he had the 65 Vet. He's probably sleeping in. And Don fixed it up in exchange for him joining Dokken for a little while. So there you go. I thought that was a fun story. And what's really funny in that story, Don says, I still wish I had my 63 split window Corvette. He says, if I did, I'd be really rich right now, because those go for like $500,000. Listen, man, if after fronting, a well-known rock band for all these years and you're not worth $500,000, Don, come on, man, you're already really rich, or you got enough money. You got some money. Even if you didn't save it, you've still been working and touring, and you got, you own your songs. Come on, man.
And he can still fix cars.
I'm sure. I'm going to call him to fix the brakes in my cars. I'd love Don to put a new exhaust system in my Toyota. It's great. Thank you, Taylor.
Brian Spalding.
Spalding?
Yeah, that's Brian Spalding and Don Dokken.
Oh, cool photo, man. That's Brian on the left, right? Looking good, Brian. Yeah, looking good. Oh, wait, he's on the right. No, he's the guy. He's the guy. Okay. Yeah, no, of course. No, it's a cool photo, Brian, of course. But
are you guys holding Don up?
Who's the lady? Yeah, I know. Don looks sloshed there, right? I wrote Tooth and Nail back when that motherfucker George Lynch was still the bad man. He made things really, really hard for me. What are you drinking tonight, Don? Vodka and Bang Energy drink. Bang Energy and vodka. Yeah, no, that's a cool photo. Seriously,
Awesome, Brian.
Brian, that's your wife. Oh, you lucky bastard. Brian married a pretty girl. I'll never marry a pretty girl. Nobody wants to marry me. Nobody wants to marry me. That's a cool photo, Brian. Anyway, no, I thought that was very cool for Don. Let's see. Colleen says, my favorite classic muscle car is a 69 Boss 429 in candy apple red. Damn. Colleen loves her Mustangs. That's an ass-kicking car.
Very cool.
Old Corvettes kick ass, man. Rena says Don Dokken can still pork the fatties. So what? He likes breakfast, side dish with eggs? What do you mean? There we go. I'm just looking in the chat. Yeah, brakes are overrated. Who needs Frankie? Come on, do the Flintstones thing. Cut a hole in your floorboard and just put your feet down. Yeah, no, I've had a bunch of fast cars. I got a couple right now, but I don't have. I mean, I used to be into like the Trans Ams and Camaros and Corvettes. I've had those over the years. I have, I've had my share of stuff. I got my share of stuff. And my main car is a Toyota Prius that keeps getting its exhaust system ripped off. I got two Porsches in the garage off the road, but I'm driving that Prius with the exhaust system keeps getting ripped off. It's great.
Did you ever change your taillight? So I remember when I saw you drove past me and when your brake lights was out.
Yeah, I mean, I could stuff like that. I could do basic stuff. I don't put on my own exhaust. Like I have someone do that, but like a simple thing like change lights or something. That's easy. You should be able to do like basic stuff to your car. To your car. Senator Picorni wants a 69 or 70 Super B. Yeah, baby. Amber wants a 69 Tempest. All the girls in the chat are like all gearheads. Look at that. All the guys are like, huh? A what? A 450? A what? 4 on the floor? What? Huh? Dave Lavallo says, Don can fix your car. It'll only cost you a tooth and a nail. That's fun. Yeah, so I thought that's very fun. Don Dokken can work on your old classic Corvette. Go figure. And he did it. He did it for a drummer. Lynch used to be into Panteras, Di Tommaso Panteras. You know what those are, Johnny?
Mm-mm.
It's like bring a photo one up. Di Tommaso Panteras are like kind of like an exotic car body, but it's an American engine. It's a 351 Cleveland, which is basically a Mustang engine, like a Mach 1 Mustang engine. And it's great. I mean, I've driven them. They're really cool. So it looks kind of like an old Ferrari kind of thing. It's a wedge body style. They're cool ass. But they have, again, those American engines, so you can actually work on them. They're very, very cool cars. I think George used to have like 3 of them at one point. There you go. Yeah, zoom in on one of those. Yeah, that red one right there. That's pretty badass, right?
I like it.
Yeah, no, I dig those. It's hard for me because I'm 6'4", so it's like I don't fit into every sports car. I have 2 928S Porsches, and those I fit in, and certain other sports cars I fit in. The Pantera, I fit into one. It was tight, but like maybe the later ones like gave it a little more room. But look how badass that looks. with a 351 Cleveland engine in there that you could actually work on. Yeah, and that is correct, Cheech. That is the car that that Vince Neil had and took out Razzle with. James Gum wants to get specific on my Porsches. 928S is an 86. I also have an 88 928 S4, which basically, if you're not familiar with them, it's the risky business car. It's that silver egg that Tom Cruise drove.
Never saw it.
You never saw Risky Business?
No.
Oh my God, you got to see Risky Business. It's the car Tom Cruise drove around in Risky Business. It's like a flat egg. It's very cool. There's plenty of room for big guys like me. And they have V8s. They're V8 engine Porsches, which is the only V8 engine Porsche made, because they're usually flat sixes in the back, or which were air cooled, now are liquid cooled. But yeah, no, I have a weakness for 928s. The problem is both mine are off the road at the moment. They need repairs that I don't feel like spending right now. I mean, when you own cars like that, it's their money pits. You have to know that going in, and it's like, I just don't feel like doing those repairs and putting them back on the road at this time during the pandemic. Money's tight and, blah, blah, blah. But I've had them for years and I love them. And, so right now I'm just driving the Prius, which is very cool. But look at those Panteras, man. Those things are badass. And you can work on those engines. That's the beauty of it. The 928s, that's the thing. I got to find like special mechanics that know it. Even the Porsche mechanics don't know that engine, because they're used to the regular 911, engines that have the flat six, and they're used to those. But then they see the 928, and it's a front engine, liquid cooled. It's a whole different animal. And if you don't know it, you'll fuck it up. So I have a specialty mechanic, and it's, he ain't cheap. So for right now, those are off the road. For now, we'll see. But look at those things. Yeah, so Lynch had 3 of those. Do me a favor, Google George Lynch Pantera. Dave Lavallo wants to know oil changes on the Porsches. You can still get an oil change. You just have to get the filter, and then you can still bring it to Jiffy Lube for a regular oil change. That's not the problem. The problem is when you need to replace something or go into the engine. That's when it gets pricey on a 928. So crazy stuff. It's probably like $60 for an oil change. It's not at all bad. Plus the cost of the filter. Nah. Yeah, it's just the filter. I mean, and use, whatever, Fram filters or whatever. But if you need an intake or something, then you're talking money. Yeah, Hobo Rody says 351 Cleveland. You could get the parts and service at the Ford dealership. Technically, it's an old Mustang engine. It's the Mach 1 Mustang engine. Hey, Jeff T. Welcome, man.
I don't see pictures of him with it, but I see other people.
Let me see. Let me see if I have a Lynch magazine near me. Let's see if I can dig it out. There's a great photo of George and like the rest of Lynch Mob, and they're all around.
Oh,
do you got it?
Wait.
I
see Blackie Lawless in the car.
I don't know if that's the same photo. Let's see. What's he wearing? Let's see. Khakis.
Wait, who's this? I see a bunch of Blackie Lawless next to cars and stuff.
Blackie might have had something. Let's see. It's a well-known photo. You know what? If you look up George Lynch Mob photos, you probably find that. So I don't think I have it in here. Thought I did. No. Just look up George Lynch, Lynch Mob.
Oh, no, that car's beat up.
They're like in the desert. John BL in the house. How are you, man?
John BL. He'll find it. John BL, find a picture of George Lynch.
There's a picture of George Lynch, and I think it's the rest of Lynch Mob in the desert with 3 Di Tommaso Panteras around them. It's a famous photo. John BL is like Siri. You should, instead of a Siri, you should sell a little, John BL device. John BL, beep beep. But it'll actually give you the accurate things.
He has one.
Siri will be like, I think you said bean soup. Is that right? And John BL will be like, here's your Pantera photo. There it is.
Yeah, I'm not saying it. I just see like a bunch of weird.
You can't find it?
Stuff. Although I did find Paul.
Weird stuff. You found the man Dong Lorian.
Oh, here we go. I found Paul. Are you sure that's it? John, I was looking at that. That's not him though?
Well, let's see.
Is it?
Let's see.
Okay, I saw the same picture. Sorry, not lunch. What?
Not Lynch? Not lunch. Ladies and gentlemen, George Lunch of Dokken.
Yeah, see, I saw the same picture.
Lunch Mob. Lunch Mob. I can't.
I mean, kind of looks like him.
It comes on my big screen.
In the 70s? Was he driving those in the 70s?
I don't think that's George. No, then again.
Is that him?
Hold on. Zoom in on that. Let me see.
Paul, is that him?
That might
That's not George Lynch.
No.
No.
The guy covering his face. That could be him.
Hi, Paulie.
Hi. You guys said something about the desert, and I was like, oh, they need me.
Desert man.
Desert.
No, do you know the
one
photo?
One thing I know about it's desert.
Do you know the photo we're looking for, Paulie? It's George Lynch with Lynch Mob surrounded by like 3 Di Tommaso Panteras.
I think I've seen that picture, but I don't remember. Hang on a second.
Now I'm curious to Google it.
Now I'm looking. It's funny. You probably don't want to Google Lynch Mob.
Yeah, no,
you'll find yourself on a list.
Proud Boys.
There's a couple of things you don't want to Google. Lynch Mob, Lemon Party. You definitely don't want to Google Lemon Party.
Bukkake.
Yep, nope. You don't want to do that either. By the way, do I look like Dita from Spox right now? I look like Dita. Now is your time where we should dance.
Wow, you're all dressed up.
Dita from No, I'm not.
Wait. No. This is mirror
a long sleeve shirt that doesn't say fuck on it.
Johnny, be careful. This is Mirror Universe, Paul. This is Mirror Universe. We were going through the Mirror Universe.
I should have grown a goatee. Yeah, I should have grown a goatee so I'd look like evil Spock.
Yeah, we were joking about that earlier. I said Jojo the Chimp is super sweet and Blue Rhino's like the biggest prick in the world. He's got like a little goatee.
Yeah, that's what I should have done. I haven't shaved, but I didn't grow a goatee. So
Johnny says he's going to tuck in the chickens, but Mirror Universe, Johnny's going to go like wring the chickens' necks and make fricassee.
No, I'm here for sprockets. We must dance.
Do you
want to touch my monkey?
Would you like to spank
my monkey?
Spank der monkey?
Der monkey.
Spanking? Spanking the sparking monkey?
Here.
I'm trying to find this fucking photo.
Oh look, I have a fan. Hi, Amber. Amber Poor.
Amber's named after my bank account.
Ember pour I'm so money and I don't even know it. See what I did there?
I do.
That's a nice. Actually, that movie is on the dish this month, and I haven't seen it in so long, and it's really good. Hello, Zach Thong.
Cannot find this photo.
Sorry, not much.
We're talking about Pantera.
Yeah, you know what? Has anybody said it? I'll say it.
Di Tommaso Pantera is the car.
I was gonna say. I'll say it. Overrated.
Ooh,
yeah.
You and Sandra are gonna have a fight. I can't find this fucking.
They were the only band doing. They were the only band doing what they were doing at the time that they were doing it, and so they get a lot of credit for it. But they were never. Pantera was never an arena band. But yes, overrated, Sandra. Overrated. Pantera, they were, and I'm thankful for them being there. Thank you, David. Look at David Ennis is back. Good to see you, sir.
Yeah, we were talking about that too. Or is it Mirror Universe, David Ennis?
It could be. Yeah, no, Pantera was great for for their time and for what they did, but the legend of Pantera certainly exceeds the reality of Pantera, and that's the sad part. Is they were great to a point. Phil being Phil derailed that band in a way that a lot like I mentioned, a lot like with Randy Rhoads, the book was unfinished. I think that they could have been so much more than they were, and clearly when it fell apart and Damage Plan was the comeback thing, Damage Plan was never a thing either. So, and I happen to like Damage Plan, and I happen to have hung around with Dime and Vinny on several occasions, and good dudes. But their band, I saw Pantera blown off the stage by two other bands one night, one of which was Testament, and the other one was Wrathchild America. They were the third band in that. It was Wrathchild America was the best band that night, followed by Testament, followed by Pantera.
See, I'd be surprised at that because I'm thinking out of those three, I would choose Testament, followed by Pantera, followed by Wrathchild.
Yeah, no, Wrathchild was fantastic. They were great.
Queen Boutica Radiant wants to talk about Michael Schenker and John Sykes. I'm always talking about John Sykes.
Yeah, and I think Schenker is one of those guys that, and somebody else mentioned Gary Moore as well. Very similar guys that were way under the radar on the big in the big picture, who are better than they've ever been given credit for.
Well, UFO is really like an English band. They broke more in England than out here.
Yeah, and respectfully, UFO is a name drop band. They're a band that a lot of people mention but don't really follow.
Yeah, no, same here. I'm not a big UFO fan. Yep, exactly. I liked MSG better as far as Schenker goes, and you know,
and Macaulay Schenker was great too for what it was. It was clearly a commercial cash grab type band, but they were great. The songs were still great. That's the thing. It's like you can sit there and say, yes, it was a commercial endeavor for Michael Schenker. When you look at his entire catalog, that was the most commercial thing that he did, was the Macaulay Schenker band. That said, they were still great songs.
And let's also, since we're talking about Gary Moore, he's actually, I'm sorry, that's actually Vinnie Moore is in the news. My bad.
Vinnie Moore is great too.
Yeah, I'm talking about Vinnie Moore, and someone's talking about Gary Moore.
I saw him at a Guitar Center one time.
Which one?
Vinnie Moore.
Yeah, okay.
Vinnie Moore was walking out as I was walking in.
Well, he saw you coming, and he's like, "Oh, there's Beane. He's going to ask me to be on his turd show." Oh.
He had just done a clinic in there, and I arrived late. I arrived as he was leaving.
Johnny's always walking out of a clinic. It's like, "Thanks for the penicillin. Thank you. Hope that the burning will go away. Thank you."
The unfortunate part of with Vinnie Moore is a lot like Tony McAlpine and Joey Tafola And a lot of those, Michael Lee Firkins, and to a lesser degree, Marty Friedman and Jason Becker, those guys all got lumped in as Yngwie clones when most of them weren't. Joey Tofola was very much an Yngwie clone. Joe Stump was very much an Yngwie clone. But Vinnie Moore wasn't an Yngwie clone. Tony McAlpine, not an Yngwie clone. But at some point, if you played, a Strat style guitar and there was any semblance of neoclassical phrasing in your guitar playing, you were immediately lumped in with Yngwie. Meanwhile, Yngwie never really gave credit to the guy who invented neoclassical shred guitar, and that would be one Richie Blackmore.
I always see Yngwie.
Oh, Kristen Pelletieri too. Yeah, another Yngwie clone.
I always see Yngwie as I'm walking out of the sperm bank. It's always like, oh, you also love yourself. I make love to myself. They give me money. They always give me money. I said, well, yeah, it's not really free. Don't worry, man. Vinnie Moore though, and look at Colleen.
Vinnie Moore's in UFO. He's been in UFO for a long time.
Look at Colleen jumping the gun on my news today. Look at it. Yeah, Vinnie Moore unfortunately has been diagnosed with COVID. So he's not happy about that, obviously. So we wish him well. He said it, the first few days he was like at death's door, and he's a little better, but we still wish him well and a safe recovery, because COVID kind of goes in these lovely waves of feeling like shit.
Well, we all know someone else who's got the COVID as well.
Somebody told me where my wife was, and I haven't seen her.
Shut the fuck up, Ozzy, and go back into your closet.
Nobody's brought me breakfast this week. I've been fending for myself.
But I mean, all joking aside, Sharon also got the COVID, and if there's ever been a guy with a compromised immune system, that is Ozzy Osbourne. So they are now separated right now, not in a legal sense, but in a physical sense, because
did I lose all my money to the bitch?
Last thing you want to do is give him the bug.
Yeah, no, Ozzy has emphysema. Ozzy has Parkinson's, and emphysema, for those that don't know, is already a breathing disease. Yep. So, Ozzy's COVID would be, God forbid, the worst case scenario. Yeah. So Sharon, they already had a scare when two of their grandkids had it, and they had to stay away with Ozzy. But now Sharon has it. Sharon Osbourne has it, and she basically is in quarantine away from Ozzy. She's feeling like shit, and you got to realize how Ozzy is your worst case scenario of someone to catch that. God forbid. So you've really got, and meanwhile, Ozzy's like, oh, darling, I miss you. Yes, love, love. Mwah, mwah. Yes! Crazy, but that's how it goes. The woman who yells at me, she's miles away. Yeah, Ozzy's so happy right now, I'm sure. He won't tell anybody. But you've got to be sick of, I need more money on the credit card. Oh God, you shrew.
I don't think Sharon is hurting for dollars. I think Sharon's got her own fuck you money.
Yeah, sadly.
She's got I used to manage coal chamber money, and they didn't get any of it. She's got I used to manage a bunch of bands' money, and I didn't get any of it.
Her father's money.
Yeah, Sharon is not hurting for rent money. She doesn't need Ozzy money.
She has Jakey Lee's money.
Yeah, she's got Lee Kerslake's money. It was weird. I happened to be listening to Sirius, and they played on the Boneyard. They played I think it was Crazy Train, and they played the version of Crazy Train with the Mike Borden, Robert Trujillo rhythm section. I was offended.
Oh, that's terrible.
On Ozzy's Boneyard.
That's terrible.
They played the shit version of Crazy Train. I mean, don't get me wrong, Ozzy and Randy are on it, so that's great. But the one, the remasters that came out years ago, for those that don't know, Sharon, in one of the cuntiest moves in the history of the music business, because she had a financial dispute with Lee Kerslake, the late Lee Kerslake, and Tommy Aldridge. I'm sorry,
how much time do you guys out there have?
Right. But in any event,
hold on. Here's a list of all I've screwed. Ozzy, hand me the other 26 pages, darling.
Yeah. So she owed these guys Lee Kerslake and Bob Daisley. I apologize. And she basically they went into the studio and removed the rhythm tracks, the bass tracks and drum tracks from the original Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman records, and had Mike Borden and Robert Trujillo, who were Ozzy's rhythm section at the time, re-record the bass and drum parts for the 2 classic albums, pulled the original ones off the shelves, and replaced them with these remasters, which is fucking low. It's the lowest of low.
We get more money.
Yes. And so, by the way, John B., nice Francis Dunnery poll, used to play with Robert Plant. So obviously people lost their fucking minds, and Sharon eventually replaced the Lee Kerslake, Bob Daisley rhythm tracks and pulled those remasters. So if you actually have those versions with Trujillo and Borden, they're actually kind of collector's editions now because they weren't out that long. But why would you want to collect shit?
Can we see them?
I don't have them.
And again, this is not a dig on Rob Trujillo. And
no. They just did what they were doing.
These guys are just hired guns. So
no, they did what
they're not on the business end of what Sharon.
No. And by the way, Borden and Trujillo are 2 of the nice guys in the business. Trujillo definitely is fucking awesome in every way, shape, and form. That's not their fault. It's the act of pulling the original band. Imagine, if you would, a band so bitter and angry that they removed all references to their original bass player from their website.
Wasn't his dying wish that he get like the gold album plaque?
Lee Kerslake, he wanted he wanted the platinums, and they actually did send them to him.
Yeah. How low? It's like you can imagine, like when Sharon's home, it's the middle of the night, and Ozzy wakes up. Are you sleeping, darling? Oh, good. And then he sneaks over to her purse, and like a little kid looking for money. I hope she has some money in here. Doesn't give me anything. And the ice cream man's coming tomorrow. It's like a little kid looking at mommy's bag for change. I've got it all locked up, Ozzy. What are you doing?
John B. Referencing Francis Dunnery again. I actually own It Bites records and most of, if not all of, Francis Dunnery's solo record. His Fearless record is fucking outstanding from start to finish. He did a great song called American Life in the Summertime in 1994 that was pretty big. Francis Dunnery is a fantastic guitar player for those that are looking for somebody to check out. Sorry to detract, but answering a chat question.
No, please.
But It Bites was a cool band. I've got a couple of It Bites records. It's funny. I have It Bites records and all of Francis Dunnery's records, but I don't have the remasters of Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman because Sharon is a bitch and I wasn't going to support that.
Queen Boudica Radiant says, Greedmonger, she'll prop Ozzy up on stage until his dying breath.
Well, look, Ozzy wants to be propped up on stage because what happens to a fish when they stop swimming? I mean, don't make no mistake about it. Ozzy wants to get on stage more than Sharon wants the money from it.
He loves performing, but here's the thing. Right now, Sharon's in isolation. Well, now that Ozzy's here. Boop, 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 boop. Hello, Wendy Dio. Who made that hologram for you? And how much did they charge?
Oh, awful.
Yeah, you know Sharon's right now getting like, they're taking an awful lot of photos of me, darling. That's right. Don't worry. Just do a lot of poses like this and this. Just do your normal stage thing. Let them take photos, darling. There's certainly a lot of photographers here.
Ozzy, will you wear this bodysuit with these sensors on it so that we can check your motion?
I'm not playing Gollum or nothing.
No, we're doing a video game, Ozzy. It's not to create a...
I love video games. Look, here I go. Honker. I'm Pac-Man, darling. Do you need me to throw barrels over my head like Donkey Kong? I could do this.
Amber, I do like Dominic Miller. Yes.
Paul, you missed the Mandong Lorian.
They have no idea who you're talking about, Amber.
What? The what? What I miss?
You missed the Mandong Lorian. We brought out the Mandalorian dildo that's on sale.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, that is the way.
That is the way. You should see the little Grogu butt plug. It's pretty funny. It is funny. Let's see. What did Amber bring up? Dominique Miller.
Mm-hmm.
Who is Dominique Miller? I don't know. Now I'm in the dark. Now I'm Johnny. Now I'm Johnny.
It's Dominic. Yeah, Dominic.
Oh, there you call the wild. Oh, see, is that you? Yeah. So Sharon Osbourne has the plague, and she's isolated from Ozzy. So party at Ozzy's this weekend. Please wear masks.
Great. By the way, John, just to follow up from last week's show, I did take a second listen to both Steelheart records, and Tangled in Rain is way better than the debut. The second record is way better than the debut because Mike Matievich is
Matievich.
Yeah, whatever. He is Milenko Matievich.
It's Matievich.
It's Matievich. He's fucking Yugoslavian or whatever the fuck it is.
Is he a Jew? Mike Matievich.
He actually sings in his more natural register on that second record. So it's a way better record. The second one I think is more fun. And I think the songwriting is better than the first one. So
it's the second one's more polished. The first one is my personal favorite, probably because again, I love the song so much as a first impression of seeing him as a vocalist. So like I'm really into that. But I mean, do you like the band now?
I like him. I like the second record. I do not like the over reliance on vocal range on the first record. That's because I'm a singer, and I think that like guys like Miles Kennedy and Jim Gillette, just because you have the range doesn't mean you need to use the range. I think the range should fit the song, and I think on the first record there are a lot of examples of Mike doing it just because he can, and it seems out of place and overdone. I think the second record shows way more maturity and more comfort. I think obviously when it's your first band, they say you have your whole life to make your first record and 10 months to make the second one. I think on the first record, they were like, oh my God, we have this incredible singer. Let's show everybody how incredible this singer is. And then on the second record, they were like, all right, we've already made the point. Now let's show you how well we can write songs. Because I'm sure the criticism off the first record was, hey, I'll Never Let You Go is a great song. He's got a great voice. Now, can you write another great song? And I think the second record has significantly good songs. Sheila, I think, is great. Everyone Loves Eileen, I think, is great. I think they're both really good songs. I think that the second record shows the maturity that they needed.
Everyone Loves Eileen is my favorite Steelheart song. And again, I mean, we'll agree to disagree. I mean, we both agree someone like Jim Gillette is just like a waste of air.
Yes.
But we disagree on Mike Matievich because you think he's more like Gillette, that he's just using it because he can.
Sometimes, yes.
And I think, again, he's impressing us. He's got to make that impression when you have that ability. But he's not like Gillette where every other song is, where are we going now?
No, I'm not saying that.
It's like, holy
shit. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, because here's the thing, Nitro never wrote a fucking song that was worth a shit. They're garbage songs.
Terrible.
I believe that some of those Steelheart songs on that first debut would have been better had there been some vocal restraint employed versus the unnecessary vocal histrionics in it. I think the songs would have been better had he stayed in his natural mid-range, because I don't think they were bad songs. I think they're decent songs that could have been better had he showed a little bit of restraint. And look, that's a tough thing to do when you've got a voice like that. That's like telling Yngwie to slow down. You know what I mean? It's you if you've got that muscle, you need to flex it once in a while.
Do you feel Mark Slaughter falls into that same way?
Sometimes. Okay. Sometimes.
That's what I thought you would say.
And specifically on the Vinnie Vincent records.
That's a tough position because you're following Robert Mason, who Fleischman. Thank you.
Yeah.
Big difference. But you're following Robert Fleischman, who had that sort of vocal range as well. So you're kind of, Vinnie wants you to do this. He's
I understand
militant,
that. Yeah. No, I recognize that it's not a that's what they called for. But I do think that there have been times, like in Burning Bridges, I think there's a little bit of, that I think, but Mark Slaughter, again, if it fits the song, then you run with it. I think that some of the things on the first Steelheart record didn't fit the song. If you've got a voice like that, write a song that fits that voice, like a Take Hold of the Flame from Queensryche. That vocal range absolutely fits because it's such an epic sounding song. Mm-hmm. Bruce Dickinson does the same thing, where he's got these things. Rob Halford, these amazing vocal takes fit the texture of the song. I think that some of Mike's vocals on that first Steelheart record are incongruous with the rest of the song, and therefore detract from both his ability to sing and the structure of the song. But that's as a singer. That's like a guitar player talking about certain guitarists. Yngwie could be a great example.
Vinnie Vincent for sure.
Vinnie Vincent. Vinnie Vincent is another guy. Yes, we know you can play fast.
But I mean, he just goes to the level of guitar diarrhea. I mean, just flowing out and spewing out and spraying out and splattering everywhere. I mean, it's like the only thing I could say, that I could maybe give you that benefit of the doubt on is, I'll Never Let You Go, where he, builds up to that note and then that note and then that note. That one, maybe I could give you that, even though I love that song and I love that part. I love that part. But then, there we go.
Well, John B, they're all probably bald now.
Well, the B is for bald.
I mean, I never really cared like what they look like,
I don't care either. I mean, the thing is,
I'm not looking to hook up with them, so.
I think, but there are certain, there was a time when certain bands had to have the hotshot guitar player, and I think that Steelheart obviously had to have the hotshot lead singer. Let's face it. At the time, there were guys like Mark Slaughter, and Jeff Tate was doing stuff that was in the pocket at the time.
Epic.
Real epic shit. So they were like, okay, well, what makes this band better than the others? Steelheart's songs on that first record, outside of I'll Never Let You Go, fairly unremarkable, but their singer is incredible. So, hey, I'm sure the producer was like, oh my God, this singer is incredible. Let's focus on that. And of course, that one power ballad, hit the way it was supposed to. Then the follow-up record came a couple of years later, which, by the way, we had already heard things from Alice in Chains, things from Soundgarden. It's a little heavier record. And Mike is a little bit more growly on the record and a little bit more gritty on the record and less polished, and recognizing that, hey, we do need to redefine this band or we're going to be left aside with all of the other poodle rock. So I think the songwriting is better. I think that the second record, and by no surprise, the second record ate shit because it just was not what everybody was looking for.
Wait a minute. Were they put together by somebody? Was somebody in that band already famous?
Who, Steelheart?
No, they were a Connecticut band.
Because they formed in '89 and their record came out in '90.
Okay.
Well, because at the time,
they were that tail end. They were on the tail end.
At the time, all the record companies were picking up anybody that had anything going on. And again, that's a great example. Their songs weren't good. They had a great singer. Quick. And they had a great look. Quick. Grab this band and run with it.
What band forms and then puts out a debut on a major label in a year? From Connecticut.
Keep that in
but
mind.
Understand how unique
Johnny,
his vocals were, Johnny.
Yeah, and at that time, it was everybody was looking for their Warrant or their Skid Row or their Bon Jovi. Like everybody was looking for it. Every label. So you go, shit, here's a guy.
They've had a lot of
five guys. Yeah, here's five guys.
Bands like Danger was like, the mirror of Bon Jovi. You had a good looking frontman and a guitar hero and a keyboard guy. I mean, there was a formula, Johnny, and they were looking for, if we sign these 10 guys and 2 of them are the next Skid Row, we've won. Because those record deals were being handed out left and right.
And remember, in 1990, it was all about "I Saw Red" and "Fly to the Angels," and
but that was the end.
It was
that was the very end.
In 92, it was the real end. But yeah, they were at the tail end. They were the last group of guys.
Steelheart,
John B.
is one of those bands that Steelheart is one of those bands that is blamed, right, wrong, or indifferent, blamed for the death of hair metal. They're one of those bands. They're them and Danger Danger, and the bands that came at the end are the bands. And and then we could get even more obscure with the Rock Skanks and the Sea Hags and all that shit.
Sure.
There you go, John B. Don't feel so bad. I told you they're bald now.
But that's the thing, is those bands, that last group of bands, Steelheart being one of them, and
now he looks like you.
And the saturation of that shit overabundance of mid-tempo power ballads, for which I'll never
I love drastically.
But that's one of those bands. "I'll Never Let You Go" was one of those songs that made people go, "Oh Jesus, make this go away!" Because
not yet. This was when it was starting to peak.
No, this was when it was the peak was over. The peak had already happened.
No, because when Steelheart was hired, understand everything on MTV, that whole top 40 was pretty much, other than with Michael Jackson and Madonna mixed in there, was all the hair bands.
Yes, from 1986 through 1989. 1990 was a big difference. You had Enough's Enough, Steelheart.
That guy liked my tweet yesterday.
Who?
Chips Enough.
Chips Enough's awesome.
Oh, he's great.
He's a great dude.
They were like they were like the Beatles of the hair metal era,
Yeah, Enough's Enough was another band that, right, wrong, or indifferent, blamed for the death of hair bands.
Bye, Sandra.
But they were better.
Yeah, but 1990, I wasn't around back then. I remember Steelheart, but I just remember that one song. I don't remember anything else from them.
Right. And then
by 91, Nirvana hit and it was over. It was done.
Yeah.
Nirvana was the catalyst. That's the dick in my ass.
Yeah.
but reality,
the Mad Dog Lorian.
But again, while some people were like, okay, this is what we're used to, they were willing to accept the change, but they weren't complaining about it. Otherwise, none of these bands would have been signed.
No, and that's the point. The point was,
hit like
1990 was it got really cheesy. It got cheesier and
but
cheesier,
but it was still the mainstream. It was still what was selling. It was still what was all over MTV.
Now, when Nirvana came out, nobody wanted it.
That's what the difference is. Nirvana had that transition song. Smells Like Teen Spirit could be a metal song, but it was a little darker, and it kind of led you right down that rabbit hole.
Nirvana brought the rock back to what was happening.
The cock back.
No, they did not. No, they did not.
It was just the opposite of what was being played.
No, Soundgarden and Jane's Addiction happened before Nirvana. People don't forget. They keep forgetting that Nirvana was marketable. Nirvana had a blonde-haired, blue-eyed kid who looked like he needed a hug as their frontman. But Jane's Addiction and Soundgarden and Alice in Chains all happened before Nirvana. All of them happened before Nirvana.
But none of them broke that way.
But it was the lead up to Nirvana.
They were all better bands than Nirvana too.
That's not hard.
They were all better bands than Nirvana. Yeah. Soundgarden was the first band in Seattle from that era, that group. If you want to put the grunge label on it, you can. But Soundgarden was the first band to get a major label deal. Louder Than Love was a fantastic record. And Bad Motorfinger as well was a fantastic record.
Cheech brings up Alice in Chains outlasted them all.
Alice in Chains was a hair band.
When you say outlasted them all, none of them lasted very long.
Pearl Jam has outlasted them all.
The hair metal era was like the entire decade and into the 90s, early 90s. The grunge era was the early 90s into the mid 90s, and that was it. It was a real fast era for the grunge bands because no one wanted to be depressed. Now you had the same thing with grunge. You had a formula.
Yes, that's what happened. Is you got second generation grunge bands that weren't as good as the first. Bush was piss poor Nirvana. You know, you got a lot of those.
Now well, go ahead. Finish what you were saying.
I was just going to say what happened was the same thing that happened to the hair bands. Is you got a couple of them that were brilliant and fantastic, and then an oversaturation. What Steelheart was to Warrant and Motley Crue and Bon Jovi and those bands is exactly what Bush was to Alice in Chains and Stone Temple Pilots and Soundgarden. It's
spot on.
And which, by the way, is not a new phenomenon. When the Beatles came out, you had the Animals and Jerry and the Pacemakers and the Dave Clark Five and all these other bands that tried to sound exactly. The Bee Gees all tried to sound like the Beatles, because if one is good, I have to have my version of the one. Beatles ended up on Capitol and on Apple Records. They're like, well, shit, Atlantic needs to get their band and MCA needs to get their band and So when A&M Records signed Soundgarden, Geffen was like, shit, we need a band like that. So they grabbed Nirvana. And then Columbia was like, well, fuck, we need a band like that. So they grabbed Alice in Chains. And then Atlantic was like, ha-ha, Stone Temple Pilots. And that's how it happened. If one is good, I got to get my one.
Yeah, and Cheech, hair bands lasted through the 80s and into the 90s because it was fun. It was partying. Everyone was getting laid and having a good time. Grunge only lasted, 3 years technically? Because everyone was miserable, dark, flannel. It's raining in Seattle. My guitar's ugly. My girlfriend's ugly. Everyone's miserable and depressed and dark. And you had the same thing.
You're looking at 6 years. You're looking at about 6 years, from 1990 through 1996.
But it wasn't even 90. Think about it. Nirvana broke at the very end of 91, early 92.
Yes, but Soundgarden happened in 87.
But no
Nirvana was playing
really
huge shows in the late 80s. In Seattle, they were big. They were already big in Seattle.
Yeah, but
Alice in Chains opened
Seattle
Extreme Porno Graffiti Tour.
Just in Seattle didn't change the market. Just in Seattle didn't open it to the world. 92, the beginning of 92, that's when the egg split open, and suddenly it was, here's everything grunge, everything hair bands bad, Beavis and Butthead are here. I mean, it all hit at once.
But you got to understand, that's when the page turned and all those 80s bands were pushed by the wayside. But in 1986, 87, 88, you had shit like Jane's Addiction's Nothing Shocking record. You had Louder Than Love. You had Faith No More's Real Thing record. You had the Chili Peppers' Mother's Milk. Those were big records.
The world.
They were huge records.
It was changing the
Chili
world.
Peppers is more funk rock.
But it was underground. I used to go to those shows.
I'm just saying, seeing an underground show at a club is a big difference from, hey, Poison's headlining the football stadium, you know? So in 92, when Nirvana broke it open, that's when I consider the change literally happened, you know? And that basically gives you 4 years, 92 to 93 to 94 to 95 to 96, 4 years. That's that era versus, 80s metal through the decade up to 92. I mean,
there's an argument to be made that the 80s metal scene kicked in about 85 and ended in about 89. Yes.
Well, again, are you splitting hairs of calling 80s metal and glam metal?
No, because I'm going to tell you, John, before Theater of Pain, Motley Crue was a theater band. They were not a stadium band, and Theater of Pain was 85. All right. And before before Slippery When Wet, Bon Jovi was an opening act. And
agreed with that.
Yeah. And in 1984, 85, fucking Dokken was third on the bill to Twisted Sister. Twisted Sister didn't pop until 84.
But your big band was
5 years.
Your big band was Quiet Riot. And what was that? 83?
83, 84. Yeah, they opened the US Festival on Memorial Day. 83.
I mean, they were all over the charts. That was
who closed it?
Come On, Feel the Noise was the big one. Come On, Feel the Noise was the big one.
Right, but that was a flash in the pan record.
But it was the only one. It was the only one.
Because Condition Critical ate shit.
But with that said, you had other bands right there. You had Twisted Sister breaking out. You had Dio.
Twisted Sister was playing theaters in 1984. I was there.
I was there too, but
they were playing 3,000 seat theaters.
But again, that was still your main rock music in the early 80s. You had,
hell, Duran Duran and Big Country and Bruce Springsteen was your main rock
country,
in the early
not
80s.
Big Country.
Yes.
Come on, they had one song. They had one song, and
Quiet
you were not
Riot had one song,
and you were not filling it. No, they didn't.
Hey, Kurt. Kurt was there, man.
Hi, Kurt.
Yeah, Kurt
was
there.
Kurt's like, boys, let me, please.
Yeah, David Lee Roth put a cake in his face on stage.
there were a lot of bands popping up out of nowhere, and you had mainstream guys. You had Judas Priest, you had Iron Maiden coming out, you had Dio, you had Ozzy.
All of those bands, with the exception of Ozzy, were opening acts at that point.
There were a lot of them.
Yeah, there were a lot of them, just like there were a lot of grunge bands in 1987 and 88 that were opening up for other people.
And
look, that's the movement.
I'm not saying nothing from, taking anything from Duran Duran or Asia or,
those were the big rock bands. 38 Special and
Journey.
Asia and
Journey was a big one back then. Sure.
And Styx.
No, not taking anything away from that. Absolutely.
So the 80s metal scene, that hair metal scene, didn't really kick in until 85.
I consider it maybe 82. And Kiss also.
84. Lick It Up was their big coming out record. Kiss was done.
What was Creatures of the Night, though?
Because 1982. It was a stiff.
But
Kiss is a 70s band.
Kiss was done. Kiss from 1981 through 1984, nobody fucking cared. That's why they took the makeup off.
I mean,
they were big in South America, but in the United States, Kiss was persona non grata. Don't get me wrong, Creatures of the Night is my favorite Kiss album. But Jesus, they were done.
I mean, I get they weren't fully playing arenas then, but they were clubs left and right. They were opening acts left and right. They were around. I consider all those bands still around.
But they weren't. But that's the same thing. We're using the same argument in grunge. Grunge broke through in 92 and was done in
Seattle.
In 96.
Seattle, though.
Not true. Not true. Alice in Chains opened the Porno Graffiti tour for Extreme. Soundgarden was playing fucking festivals in the late 80s. Alice in Chains was a fucking hair band.
I mean, I know I was listening to a lot of metal in 1981, 82. I mean, again, I get it.
But you listening to it and it being big in the United States are two different animals.
But there was, well, I mean, Duran Duran, I get, but it's like there was a lot of open air when MTV first started, and I think that's really what put a lot of the metal on the map was the image.
Let me ask you a question, John. When was Live Aid?
85?
Mm-hmm. Who played Live Aid?
Queen. Was that where Zeppelin reunited?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who was the biggest band at Live Aid? The biggest.
Let's see.
Ask Amber.
It's got to be Duran Duran. I'll guess Duran Duran.
My point is, how many of those hair bands played Live Aid? Biggest concert on the planet.
But again, while they weren't
1985, John. That's the biggest concert on the fucking planet.
I'm still looking at the metal genre. I'm looking at a flood of bands signed and with albums coming out. And I mean a flood. When Dio came out, when Ozzy came out, when Priest came out, when Maiden came out. I'm talking, there was a lot in the early 80s. And maybe they were like the little guys.
Yes, they were.
But again, I'm still Metallica for that matter. And again,
Metallica didn't pop until 1988.
with the Black album, okay,
no,
but
with Justice. Justice was their first big,
okay,
big, massive exposure. Don't get me wrong. The Master of Puppets opening slot for the Ozzy Osbourne tour was the one that got them attention. But from the mainstream, the first time the mainstream was aware of Metallica, they were already 8 years old.
But Metallica was Metallica even during the metal years. Metallica wasn't the mainstream. I mean, okay, with one again, and Justice for All, with one that broke them more into the mainstream of metal. Right. But I'm saying when Kill 'Em All came out and Ride the Lightning came out, they were still. Again, no radio was playing them, but tons of people were buying the albums.
So
and same with Ozzy Osbourne.
But that's you're making two separate arguments, John. Your argument was that the grunge era only lasted from about 1992 to 1996. And I'm telling you that the hair metal era also only lasted from about 1985 to 1990.
Wait a second.
Mm-hmm. And Metallica...
Is that right? Hold on. Is that right, John Biel? Ozzy and Priest played at Live Aid?
No, they did not. Black Sabbath played with Ozzy
John
Osbourne.
Biel says it's true. It has
and Crosby, Stills, and yes, Judas Priest did play at Live Aid.
And Ozzy Osbourne.
Ozzy Osbourne played with Black Sabbath.
Okay, I'll take Sabbath.
Here's who played Live Aid. All right, Status Quo, Boomtown Rats, Ultravox, Spandau Ballet, Elvis Costello, Nick Kershaw, Sade, Phil Collins with Julian Lennon, Sting and Howard Jones, U2, Brian Ferry, Paul Young, Alison Moyet, Dire Straits, Queen, Bowie, The Who, Elton John, Wham, Paul McCartney, Joan Baez, Hooters, Four Tops, Billy Ocean, Black Sabbath with Ozzy
Joan Baez is
Osbourne.
Hooters?
Yes. Run DMC, Rick Springfield, REO Speedwagon, Crosby, Stills, Nash, Judas Priest, Brian Adams, Beach Boys, Thorogood, Queen from London played, Bowie, Mick Jagger, Simple Minds, Pretenders, Santana with Pat Metheny, Ashford and Simpson with Teddy Pendergrass, The Cars, Kenny Loggins, Tom Petty, Rod Stewart, Madonna, Neil Young, Power Station, Thompson Twins, Eric Clapton, Phil Collins, Robert Plant and Jimmy Page, Duran Duran, Patti LaBelle, Daryl Hall and John Oates with Eddie Kendricks and David Ruffin, Mick Jagger and Tina Turner and Bob Dylan. No hair bands on that bill at all in 1985. The biggest concert on the fucking planet, John.
But again, I go back to my argument that, metal fans were not listening to Tina Turner at the time. I didn't want to hear Tina Turner or Wham.
You're making a different argument. You said that the metal era, the hairband metal era, was the biggest thing in the mainstream from 85 or even before 85. You're going 1981, 82. I'm telling you, it didn't happen.
No.
It just didn't happen.
Let me restate it in the way then that to me, there was a massive, and I mean massive, metal scene across the 80s decade. Judas Priest was absolutely playing big shows, as was Iron Maiden. Mm-hmm. And yeah, Metallica was more underground, but there was a massive, massive following for metal that these albums were absolutely selling. And I'm talking about early Ozzy.
Not mainstream.
But okay. Not mainstream, quote unquote, as big country who can suck my country. But my point is that
Headbanger's Ball is not mainstream.
No, and not saying, and this is why I'm rewording this. The metal scene was huge through the 80s. And maybe it wasn't all matching what Tina Turner was doing, what Wham was doing, what Duran Duran was doing. And again, I actually separate Duran Duran into a different genre, but you can't compare Iron Maiden and Elton John. There was a big following buying those early Maiden albums, those early Priest albums.
That said, John, you can't compare Iron Maiden and Pearl Jam either. Pearl Jam sold 900,000 records in 48 hours.
When?
1990, 91, 92.
But that's my point. That was at the beginning of the grunge era, the end of the hair band era.
It's never, Iron Maiden has never sold 1 million records in 48 hours, ever.
No, but again, it's a different thing at that time. I mean,
you have to concede defeat on this. At the time, bands like Pearl Jam and Nirvana and Alice in Chains and Soundgarden were infinitely bigger worldwide than Iron Maiden and Judas Priest. They just were.
When? At the beginning of the grunge era.
Always.
That's
how it's always been.
What's Iron Maiden's biggest record?
Let's see. No, I got to think. Probably.
WL.
Yeah, I'm going to guess Power Slave.
Hasn't sold as many records as Versus.
I'm taking a total stab at that.
Hasn't sold as many records as 10 or Versus.
Okay, but again, I'm not saying that during their peaks, this band was as big as this band or whatever.
Pearl Jam has sold like one song, more singles of one tune than Iron Maiden has sold all their records their entire career.
Okay, but
I've never been as big at any point in their career as Pearl Jam was.
But I'm saying overall in the early 80s up to the mid 80s where you're saying the metal era started in 85. And I'm saying, I think from 80 to 85, there was a massive amount of metal bands that were selling and popular.
That's not what I said. What I said was the big period for metal, for the hair metal, and I qualified it if we go back and play it back. The big period for hair metal was 1985 through 1990. No different than
definitely the biggest period,
right? Because different. So
don't.
You can't use that. You can't use that argument and then say that the grunge era only lasted 5 years. It's the same thing.
It's not the same thing. It's
sure
not
it
the
is.
Same thing. I disagree.
Every era of every genre lasts the same amount of time, no matter what it is.
Well, that's not true.
It's about 5 or 6 years.
True.
About 5 or 6 years, the cycle of music changes.
I'm saying there was a longer period of love for metal than for grunge by far.
I don't think so.
I don't know that.
I was there. I was a kid. I was the one buying.
Well, stay off my lawn.
Popular music. And the Steel Heart and all that stuff. It was a very short time, and that's when MTV started to suck.
And again, I was buying. I had no shortage of metal to buy in the first half of the 80s. There was tons of stuff.
We're not talking about availability. We're talking about availability versus mass appeal and acceptance. The worldwide impact of grunge and the worldwide impact of the hair metal lasted the same amount of time. And the argument can be made that grunge was bigger than hair metal because the numbers bear it out. Bands like Pearl Jam, the only bands that sold close to 1 million albums in 48 hours were Metallica and Guns N' Roses. Those were the only two bands from that era that ever sold that amount of records that quickly. Pearl Jam did it.
What about Bon Jovi?
No, Bon Jovi never sold 1 million records in 48 hours. Bon Jovi was over by 1990.
I know that for me, and again,
right.
maybe I'm doing this personally.
Right.
The 80s, the 80s era, the entire era had tons of metal.
Right.
And again, you had to listen to a metal station if you wanted to hear all these bands versus a top 40 station. You're hearing Elton John and Bruce Springsteen and Duran Duran and, pick your favorite, obviously. But
here's all you need to know, John. All those grunge bands' big hits are still on the radio. None of those hair bands' big hits are still on the radio, with the exception of Motley Crue, Bon Jovi.
Metallica?
Metallica's not a hair band.
It's a metal band, but
right. But
Metallica went grunge.
Metallica did go grunge.
Everyone again. Everyone didn't know what to do in '93. Everyone didn't know what to do.
None of those bands.
I locked up my guitars in my closet.
All of those great metal bands that you love and that I love. Look, I'm on your side.
I get
from a personal standpoint, but
I get it.
I
just disagree because, again, what I'm saying is I feel there was a longer run of, as a metal fan, I know I had a good 12 years of tons of music everywhere in metal. Now, sure, Bon Jovi was more on MTV in 85 than they were during 7800 and the original title and whatever. I'm not denying that, but I'm saying I know I was buying early Great White. I was buying early Kicks. I was buying early Dio. I was buying, pick your band and a stack of CDs as long as the ceiling. I'm saying during the 80s, there was a lot of split in the early 80s. You couldn't just say, okay, it was all Madonna, it was all Duran Duran, it was all this, because there were so many different genres during the first half of the 80s. When disco ended, you had, again, new wave, you had metal, you had dance, you had, whatever Bruce Springsteen does, basic rock, I guess, whatever you want to call it.
New wave was the beginning of MTV. It was all new wave.
It was all Thompson Twins and Howard Jones and Thomas Dolby videos.
Yeah. And again, Madonna,
81, 82, 83 is when Madonna and Duran Duran kicked in. And that lasted up until
Jackson,
in the early 80s. We were all still listening to Rush, and rock was Rush and Triumph and 38 Special and Journey and Styx.
And I was listening to that stuff, but I had a lot more hard stuff too. Again, I was buying. I was buying, again, early Queensryche. I was buying all these early bands in the. Ben Tom says Paul denies John's length.
Mr. Hellstorm, 38 Special was a corporate rock, Southern rock band. 38 Special was way too polished Southern rock. There was nothing dangerous or about 38 Special. If Journey were a Southern rock band, they would be 38 Special. They were completely prefabricated, completely homogenized, nothing rebellious about 38 Special at all. They wrote good pop songs. They were a pop Southern rock band.
You never saw them in their videos either. You just saw horses running. That's all you saw.
And again, early Def Leppard, blah blah blah. Yeah, I bought early Great White, early Dio.
Yeah, but they weren't big records. They were our favorite records. Don't get me wrong, dude. I've got fucking
Raven, and
I've got everything that UFO's ever released. I've got all the Judas Priest records before Turbo, before anybody in the mainstream knew what they were. Dude, I listen to Riot. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I'm on your side. I love Saxon.
Well, we grew up with the same stuff, of course.
But nobody gives a shit outside of from once Headbangers Ball, once Home Sweet Home, and You Give Love a Bad Name, and Alone Again became massive songs. That's when the world started paying attention to the music that we knew about for 10 fucking years.
I got that it took over the world at that point, but I'm saying there were a lot of early albums of stuff, Van Halen and
Thin Lizzy.
And stuff. Yeah, Whitesnake. I didn't really get into Whitesnake until 1980. Was it 85?
Nobody
86?
gave a shit about Whitesnake before Slow and Easy. That band was a persona non grata.
Well, you and I got into that one, but everyone else got into the 87 album.
Yeah, nobody gave a shit about Whitesnake before Slow and Easy. Nobody cared. They just didn't.
Yeah, and it was only because of Tanya Katane or whatever.
Yeah,
Tawny Katane.
And we mentioned UFO. UFO released all of their good shit before 1984. And Thin Lizzy was done in 1984.
Def Leppard
obviously didn't pop until Pyromania. They had 2 records out before that nobody gave a shit about. Don't get me wrong. Bring It on the Heartbreak was a secondary track. Yeah, I know. I'm with you. I loved them.
And again, I bought the first Dokken. I bought, early Y&T and, And again, Raven.
I'm with you, but the world isn't. The world isn't with us. We're nerds sitting on YouTube on a Tuesday night extolling the virtues of bands that nobody outside of us still cares about. Because if they did that metal show would still be on VH1 Classic. If there was still a market for it, it would still be being marketed. The best thing that
course.
happened to hard rock and the music that we love is the fact that AC/DC put out the best record they put out in 30 years. Now, hopefully, more hard rock bands will come out of the woodwork, but they don't. The best thing that hard rock has going for it right now are bands like Greta Van Fleet and Rival Sons. Rival Sons are outstanding. Greta Van Fleet are dog shit.
Well, we disagree on that because I like some of the newer bands. I like, I like bands like Heat and Crazy Licks, and again, no one else hears of them. Yeah, look, I agree with you. Look, I mean, we're not in a metal era. I get it, but with
that said, there's great metal out there. Warbringer is a great metal band.
No, there's tons. There's tons.
Yeah, there's a shitload of them out there. Look, if you like, I mentioned it before, the new Kings of Dust record. If you like straight ahead hard rock that reminds you of Badlands, Red Dragon Cartel's Patina record is fantastic. But nobody cares.
If you were in 1980 to 84, there was no specific genre that you could say ruled the world. It was a lot of variety. The Thompson Twins is not the same as Tina Turner. They are not the same as Duran Duran. They're not the same as Bruce Springsteen, and they're not the same as Ozzy Osbourne.
And they're all bigger than Ozzy was, and Priest was, and Iron Maiden was, and Rat and Def Leppard at the time. They're all dwarf those bands.
But to a metalhead, you had a lot to listen to. You had shows to go to. You had I consider the entire 80s a metal era. I do. Now, make no mistake. You had let's flip it a little bit. From 85 to 91, you had other pop, ruling the radio that was not metal as well. They weren't getting as much airplay on MTV, maybe, but you had, again, I mean, what do you say about something like Michael Jackson? Michael Jackson was doing incredible numbers, but he wasn't metal during the late 80s. But again, you had a point where you had a lot of variety. No, wait, what are you talking about?
He crossed over to metal thanks to Eddie Van Halen and Slash.
Yeah, had a little solo, but
you heard Michael Jackson on rock radio. You heard Prince on rock radio. Those guys were rock stars.
Prince is a metal guitar player, if you think about it.
And I love Prince and Michael Jackson for that much as he touched my pee-pee. But with that said, and listen, Michael Jackson was my favorite on that whole NAMBLA soundtrack. But with that said, I'm just saying that, you can't call Michael Jackson metal because he has a solo on there. You can't call, you listen to Dirty Diana, as great a song as it is.
He was pop metal.
He wasn't metal at all. He was pop. He was the Prince of pop. He wasn't metal at all. Nobody's going to call Michael Jackson heavy metal. It's just not. It's a different genre. But with that said, you can't say Warrant is just a light rock because they have a ballad, All
right, I gotta address something. Queen Boudica Radiant, let me explain something to you and make it very, very clear. Van Halen, Scorpions, Triumph, Judas Priest, not hair bands.
They're still metal. They're still metal. What are you talking?
But they weren't big. They weren't massive. Van Halen was the massive band on that bill. Van Halen and Ozzy were the two massive bands on Heavy Metal Day.
Scorpions with Rock You Like a Hurricane weren't massive?
That Rock You Like a Hurricane hadn't come out yet.
What year was it?
The band that closed Heavy Metal Day isn't even metal.
Right. Most of the bands on Heavy Metal Day weren't even metal.
I look at listening to Van Halen and listening to AC/DC and listening to Priest and all those, that's metal. And that was in the 80s. Some of their best albums came out in the first half of the 80s.
I understand.
And I was there buying them. I was there watching them, and
still not as this. You're still using. Let's go back to the original argument.
Good night, Kurt.
Later, Kurt.
Later, Kurt.
The original argument, the original thing that you said was that the grunge era, the grunge era of
wasn't as long as the heavy metal era.
Right. And you're wrong.
I hold
They're about the same. They're about the same length.
Because you consider the heavy metal era 85 to 91.
Yeah, because that's when the mass appeal of the heavy metal era existed. That's the mass appeal of it.
See, but I see the early 80s as splintered between genres.
You are in the minority. You're in the minority.
Because I'm a Jew?
Well,
Happy Hanukkah, everybody.
I was going to say, what makes night 6 any different than the first 5 nights? There wasn't this many arguments.
I'm almost out of latkes.
Latka.
I just again, we're gonna have to agree to disagree on this because you consider where it started being more hair bands, heavy metal, and I consider it being heavy metal when it was heavy metal.
Well, I mean, look, there's an argument to be made that grunge bands are metal bands. I mean, I can tell you right now, the big four grunge bands are obviously Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Nirvana, and Pearl Jam. Those are the big four. And then if you want to throw Stone Temple Pilots in there, but every one of those bands can be traced back to a classic hard rock band.
Everyone, you could actually say that the grunge bands that succeeded are failed metal bands.
Absolutely. Well, Soundgarden's a metal band. Soundgarden wasn't a grunge band. Soundgarden was a metal band. Louder Than Love is a metal record that came out during the hair band era. Bad Motorfinger is a metal record. Super Unknown is a metal record. They got labeled grunge because somebody needed to give something a name that wasn't dirty. Because you had bands like Jane's Addiction and Warrior Soul and Saigon Kick that weren't polished and pretty. They were doing shit and bringing elements to the music that wasn't sugar-coated and homogenized. So they needed to give it a new label. But to me, Stone Temple Pilots traces back to Led Zeppelin. And Soundgarden traces back to Led Zeppelin. And Alice in Chains traces back to Black Sabbath. So the grunge is just a new polish. You talk about the fragmentation of music that was happening during the early 80s and the fragmentation of metal, whether it be glam metal, hair metal, speed metal, thrash metal, all that stuff. Grunge is the same thing. Grunge is the evolution of that stuff. You had the quote unquote legitimate grunge bands like Soundgarden and Alice in Chains. Then you had the lighter grunge bands like Pearl Jam and Candlebox. And then you had the knockoff bands like Bush. And then you want to take it even further. The band Seether that have been around for 15, 20 years are another generation of grunge music. And nu metal. Nu metal is the inevitable result of the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Anthrax and Public Enemy and Scatterbrain and Faith No More created nu metal, and Suicidal Tendencies created nu metal. The Rage Against the Machines and the Korns and the Limp Bizkits don't exist without Suicidal Tendencies and the collaboration between Anthrax and Public Enemy. That kicks off that form of music, and Living Color and Psychofunkopus and 24/7 Spies.
And none of it would exist. None of it would even exist if it wasn't for the Beatles.
Well, that's true. That's true 1,000 ways.
They ruined everything.
They did everything first.
But again, I don't see them as evolving as far as, there were some bands like, take Pantera that were early glam bands that basically said, okay, we gotta, change our shit because the times are changing. Then suddenly someone noticed them. But I'm not saying that because I don't look at a band like Nirvana and say, oh, well, that was a hair band. They just kind of evolved, and they didn't.
Well, Nirvana was never a hair band.
But that's what I'm saying. Most grunge bands I look at as totally different from metal bands.
Well, then you should go back and look at Alice in Chains, 1987, 88.
Well, I'm not saying they didn't exist. I mean, Great White, was playing in the 70s during the disco era.
But they were a hair band. Alice in Chains was a hair band. It was Alice in Chains, like Guns N' Roses. And they had their hair teased up, and they wore scarves, and they were playing hair metal. And then somebody went, oh, shit, that's over. We better put on some flannel.
And that's what I said. And that's what I said. And they changed.
Candlebox is a hair band that changed their style. But that's no different than what Judas Priest and Aerosmith did. Judas Priest and Aerosmith went glam rock when it became a big fucking thing.
I don't consider it the same. I don't consider because
there's a huge difference between British Steel and Turbo.
But the base of what they were doing was still hard driving guitar rock. And I don't see Alice in Chains the same as a glam band switching into grunge and saying, oh yeah, that's just their natural evolution. It's not. They saw the writing on the wall.
What's the difference between Shout at the Devil and Man in the Box?
One is good and one sucks.
Wrong. The haircut.
No.
The haircut.
No,
Man in the Box.
disagree.
Man in the Box is Man in the Box is a bigger song.
It's sold more, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, look, the population was ready for a change. I got it. With that said, in the 80s, I was following this genre, and there was a lot of it, and there was a big following. Was it as big as Tina Turner during that time? No. But absolutely, it was a big onto itself genre. You listened to a metal station or a new wave station or a pop station or whatever, but you would not hear Tina Turner on a metal station, and you wouldn't hear early Iron Maiden on a pop station.
You wouldn't hear early Iron Maiden on any station unless it was Saturday night, midnight to 2 a.m.
And there I was listening to the radio, enjoying.
I understand that, but
that's where you.
Yeah. But the amount of audience, Look, I'm on your fucking side.
I get it.
Music.
I get it. But like I said,
sometimes you got to admit defeat. And as much as I hated the fact that bands like Bush and Self and whatever other Flavor of the Night, Here Today, Gone Later Today bands, Offspring and shit that came out and did their thing. They killed the bands that I love. It really wasn't them. It was bands like Steelheart and Baton Rouge and Rock's Gang. Because they were watered down versions of the great bands that started off that decade. They were watered down versions of great bands.
It's not even that's watered down versions. Some of those were really fucking good.
Yeah.
Again, I agree that there was a glut of them.
Yes,
but I think some of the bands that came out at the tail end were some really, really great stuff.
I don't disagree.
Not all of it. But
here's the problem: sometimes you can't see the forest through the trees. There's so much of it that when there are 25 shitty fucking hair band albums coming out every week, and inside those 25 shitty hair bands are 3 gems. There's only so much room. At some point, you say to yourself, "My God, there's too much. Make it fucking stop." That's what happened.
But it's not even just that. There's a generation that comes during every musical genre change that does not like the previous generation's music. Because I liked Guns N' Roses and Bon Jovi, the kids that were in high school at that time did not want to hear Guns N' Roses and Bon Jovi. That they didn't relate to that lifestyle. That wasn't their thing. They wanted something different than their older brother and sister. And there you got grunge, which was the total opposite of metal.
When it's all said and done, the only bands from the hair band era that still resonate with people, Guns N' Roses.
But I'm not even
Bon
talking
Jovi. No,
today.
I'm talking. No, that's what I'm saying though. But when it's all said and done, those are the only ones that have endured. You've got Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Bon Jovi. Those are the big ones.
The ones with the hits.
The ones with the biggest hits. Those are the ones that are still 30 years from now are still going to be on the radio, still going to be talked about. All of those bands that we love, the Riots and the Saxons and the UFOs and the Enough's Enoughs and the Danger Dangers and the Steelhearts and whatever it is, those are going to be afterthoughts. They're going to be looked at like Thompson Twins and Big Country and those and whatever other bands played Live Aid that we don't give a shit about. They're going to all be cast aside, and the big ones will float to the top. And when it's all said and done, the 4 big grunge bands are going to be still on the radio 30 years from now, right alongside Bon Jovi and Motley Crue. They're every bit as big.
Same station.
And yes, and that moment.
And again, because they represent a generation, and everyone loves their nostalgia, and that's fine. But I'm sorry, I will not agree that the metal era that I consider the entire 80s and the beginning of the 90s lasted as long as the grunge era, that I consider a 4-year spurt.
Right. Well,
they didn't even last through the whole 90s.
Alice in Chains is still releasing records. Soundgarden, prior to Chris Cornell's death, is still releasing records.
I could say every metal band is also releasing records.
Right.
Look, Spread Eagle came out with a new one. Roxy Blue came out with it. Other than you and I, does anyone care?
Nope.
Johnny doesn't care.
Somebody from Roxy Blue just commented on my post from the other day.
Ooh,
Roxy Blue.
No, not Roxy Blue.
Phantom Blue.
Phantom Blue.
Nicole Couch. The guitarist, Nicole Couch.
The guitar player.
Yeah, no, I'm friends with her. She's great. And she's coming out with a solo album. Solo album. Like I said, we're gonna have to agree to disagree on this one because I literally, I'm sorry, I claim the entire 80s as having a big metal scene. I understand during the second half, and I agree with you, during the second half and through the 90s, that it was bigger. Even holding to your argument, just to peek on that, 85 to 91 was longer than 4 years. Even that was longer than the grunge era. Even its peak was longer than the grunge era.
No,
and way more bands.
There's an argument to be made that the grunge era still exists, that those guys are still making records.
You could say the metal scene. I mean, let's put it this way.
They're still on the radio.
Let's put it this way. The Stadium Tour and the Kiss Tour are going to way outsell anything that grunge could put together. You could animate Kurt Cobain's zombie.
Pearl Jam plays multiple nights at stadiums.
I would put Pearl Jam against the Stadium Tour any day.
Pearl Jam are like the Grateful Dead. They fucking people travel to see Pearl Jam.
People travel to see Def Leppard.
Well, you're right. But I don't think the Stadium Tour would outdo a package tour with featuring the biggest bands of that era.
Disagree.
Oh, we'll see.
Well, we agree to disagree. That was a spirited discussion. We got a lot accomplished, funny. At least.
Yeah,
we got a lot accomplished.
Thrash Metal brings out a great point. Rage Against the Machine was selling $400 tickets and selling out. That's ridiculous.
Well, so look at Kiss. They're selling $1,000 tickets, and it's online.
Right. Yeah. So, by the way, Queen Boudica Radiant, once again, Iron Maiden can't touch Pearl Jam in the United States. Can't touch it. Iron Maiden doesn't play the United States because they can't sell out hockey arenas.
Oh,
they play 20. They don't. They play 12, 15 dates in the United States. They play 12,000 seat, 15,000 seat arenas, and they get about 9 to 11,000 people. They don't sell out in the United States. It's weird. I'm not saying that it's just weird. It's the people that love Iron Maiden. They play to 250,000 people in South America. They can't fill fucking hockey stadiums here in the United States. It's so wrong.
Some tribute bands play to more people than the actual bands do these days.
Some of them, yeah.
Well, I agree with in the audience. A lot of people are saying if AC/DC toured now, they'd kick everybody's ass. I can't deny that one.
Well, I think they would sell out arenas. I don't know that they can play stadiums.
No, nobody would go to an arena show right now.
Nope. Well, nobody right now. But let's say.
I bet you. Islander Winder brings up a good point. Foo Fighters could probably sell more tickets than Iron Maiden in the United States right now. Yeah.
And Foo Fighters went from grunge to metal. I'd say Foo Fighters is a metal band.
Foo Fighters is a rock band. They're not grunge. They're not metal.
They're not metal. And they're not grunge either. I agree with that.
Yeah, they're not grunge.
Anyway,
they started out that way though.
They started out grunge. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's because it was fucking Dave Grohl doing all the records himself. He didn't really have a band at that time.
Anyway, it is.
You got 4 minutes.
Really?
I got a page of fucking music news. Fuck you, Johnny Beane.
It's
5-2. Power failure day. I don't care. You're staying, pal.
You know what? Staying. You know what we have to do, John? Teach John Mancuda how to use StreamYard and let him do his own show, and let's just sit and watch as Tech More on Tuesday goes to another level. Tool is a great one. Mark FX brings up a great band that could sell a lot. Tool fucking nails it.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. Anyway, yeah.
Tool is the fucking best rock band on the planet right now. Unfortunately, they know it.
I never got
fans. They treat their fans like shit.
Tool can suck my tool.
Tool's a fantastic band.
Anyway, so show and tell guitar. And then, yes, Johnny, I have music news that we got to get to.
I'll shut up.
No, don't shut up. Join in. But anyway, today's show and tell guitar brought to you by, where the fuck are they? Swiss Picks. Swiss Picks. Because I haven't shown them yet, and they're awesome. Get a grip on your guitar playing with these awesome Swiss Picks. If you haven't tried them yet, please do. You owe it to yourself. You will thank me. And of course, look at these beautiful custom wound Vinum pickups.
Shit, I'm late for this too. Damn it.
Quick, Paul, pull out your Vinum pickups. Vinum pickups. Look them up. Custom wound pickups, hand wound. They could pretty much make you anything, or they already have a massive array of stuff online. You could check out Vinum pickups online. And of course, Johnny, Tessie switch. I know Johnny has one right by. There it is. Tessie switch, when you want a great kill switch for your guitar or other fun equipment, go to Tessie Switch's website, check those out, and up your playing game.
Did you hear that?
What?
Technical sound.
Jesus Christ.
What did he do?
Tessie.
Everything's blowing
Did you
up.
guys hear that in the chat? Did you guys hear that?
I heard nothing.
There we go.
I
Tessie
hear
Switch.
nothing.
Use code JohnnyBean15 when ordering from TessieSwitch.com/shop.
There we go.
is blatant plug. Where is my money?
And Mama Mancuna's pumpkin bread. Look up Mama Mancuna's pumpkin bread.
It's unleavened, like my breasts.
Ah. Yeah, Paul, rewind the show. She's taken up meditating. You gotta watch that.
Your father should be thrilled for the silence.
He's thrilled he's gone. Yeah, he's thrilled he's in the hospital. Just like Ozzy is thrilled Sharon's gone. My mom is thrilled Dad's gone.
Well, we can always start the show again if you wanted to, John.
We do that every week. Johnny says, all right, if you want to go past 3 hours, then I have to take 15 minutes off of next week. And then, it'll be 2 hours and 45 minutes.
You've got 35 seconds. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck with that. I got a bunch of music news to get to, too. Anyway, long story short. So today's show and tell guitar, I promised that the clue was mirror universe. And that could be a number of things. But the reason I said mirror is look at this pretty toy. Oh, fuck. Another 7 years of bad luck. Son of a bitch. Ah, damn it. Like everything else in my life, it's shattered.
Let me guess. It's literally an Ibanez universe with a mirror finish.
That would be funny. Johnny said that earlier too.
Yeah.
He's like, is it a mirror universe? Is it really? It would also be funny if it was an Ibanez Chrome Boy, but it's not. It is, ladies and gentlemen, today's show and tell guitar. Look at that bad boy. This is a 1988 Kramer Hollow Flash Pacer 1 Custom. Look how cool that bad boy is. For those that don't know, back in 88, Kramer was one of the big name guitars back in the day and played by probably half of everybody. Of course, Eddie Van Halen made them super famous, but also you had guys like Bon Jovi toting them around, Andy Timmons.
At that point, Eddie was a silent partner in the company.
Steve Brown of Trickster, Enough's Enough. I mean, you had a lot of bands sporting Kramers. And look, they play amazing. Johnny, there's your thumbnail right there.
$30126.
There you go. So basically the Pacer, did I say Pacer or did I say Beretta?
No,
I
you
said
said Pacer Custom.
Pacer custom one. Okay. The Pacer is basically it's a bolt-on guitar, really affordable, technically more so than the Beretta, but very versatile. Again, you had an angled pickup at the bottom like the Beretta, but you also had 2 single coils in there. You had a real Floyd Rose, and again, Kramer had the exclusive on Floyd Roses at the time. So if you got a BC Rich, if you got an ESP or some of the other brands, you were getting Jackson, Charvel, you were getting either licensed by Floyd Rose or Floyd Rose copies, like Jackson's JT6 around this time. But the real Floyd Roses, unless you brought them to a company like Jackson or something, you were running with Kramer. And Kramer had the exclusive on these. And this is the hollow flash finish. Look at what this is. These are unique because what they did, they came up with a process of hologram foil under the clear coat and basically melted it on. They ironed it on with a hot iron and then clear coated over it. And you can see, like, depending on the angle, it gives like a really, really, great reflection, color, rainbow. And a lot of guys are doing it now. You can have this process done at like Mean Street Guitars or, a few others. But at the time, only Kramer was offering this. And it was highlighted by Andy Timmons playing it in Danger Danger, by Steve Brown playing a Night Swan like this in Trickster, and by Derek Frigo in Enough's Enough playing this finish. And everyone was like, wow, this is really neat, very cool. And again, how glam and flashy could you ask for more than something like this? And again, under stage lights, I mean, I know I have terrible lights on it right now. This was basically like a total rainbow effect, constantly changing under stage lights. Please forgive the horrible lighting I have right now. Basically your volume knob, you have your selector switches, booster, really great necks on these. I love this period. These were actually made for them starting in about 86 by ESP. ESP started making the Kramer parts and sending them to the US where they were assembled. So they're called Americans, but they're kind of a hybrid of American and Japanese. So that's one thing to make a note of. Pretty basic on the back. Flat D-shaped maple neck with a rosewood board. You had the option of maple, but pretty much no one picked it up. I don't know why. I liked maple necks at the time, even though when I got one new, I got a rosewood one. I guess more versatility in the tone, but the Kramer necks are terrific. Flat, D-shape, very fast.
Hey, John.
Yes.
I had to step away for a moment. Did you point out the fact that the Pacer body changed in the mid-'80s?
I did not actually. I was pointing out though that in '86 that they started being made by ESP, but that is worth noting. Both the Beretta and the Pacer body had changes, body changes in the '80s, as well as, like, you notice this one. This is the custom one. This had an additional scoop put in during that point. Started in '87. That gave you a little more upper fret access. And again, they were trying to do basically what Jackson was at the time, give more of a smaller kind of a soloist or a dinky body at that time. So yeah, that is definitely worth noting that with the company changes came the body and feature changes. And again, also worth noting the logo. This started in '87, the pyramid logo, what's called the descending pyramid logo, because it starts shrinking down from the large letter to the small letter.
Mm-hmm.
That's your later Kramer logo.
And it's important to note that later Kramer logo was on a lot of the import guitars. So if you're looking to decide which one is which, first of all, you got to figure out what serial number. If begins, because they start around E or so, that they start to become E and F, become some of the Asian guitars. And if it doesn't say American on the headstock, Kramer American, because they all had the Neptune neck plate on the back. And a lot of times people think that they're buying an American Kramer. If it doesn't say American on the tip and you can't double check the serial number. The serial numbers, once they started putting the Neptune necks on the back there, the serial numbers started to become very random. And you have to be very careful so you don't find yourself buying an import guitar and being charged an American price for it.
Also worth noting, don't necessarily go by the truss rod cover, because
Right.
some of them say, like this one says Pacer Custom 1. Some of them it's missing, or some of them it's sold aftermarket and they throw
Yes.
them on the imports. The
Yes.
imports, by the way, are the Focus, which is a similar guitar, just again, totally made in Japan. This is why I was saying the Americans are a hybrid of American and Japanese. The Focus, that was a pure Japanese guitar. And it's not that they're bad. There are some quality differences, though, like most imports.
And don't touch the Strikers. Those are Korean.
That's a whole different animal.
Yeah, once you start getting into the Strikers, you're getting into a much cheaper guitar. The bodies tend to be plywood, and they're just nowhere near the same quality. And in essence, that's what killed Kramer. Is they got to a point where they got so cost conscious and started to farm out their guitars to Asian manufacturing that the quality control suffered. People found better guitars made by better companies at the time, and Kramer folded, went under because they couldn't handle their accounting. It's a big story involving Eddie Van Halen and accounting with Kramer if you want to check out the history. And there are some great websites out there too. But those guitars there, again, the hybrid of Kramer and ESP, and they're well worth it.
Yeah, the American ones, or the American hybrid ones, I personally favor them. I mean, I think they're some of the best guitars that Kramer ever made. Another point that
ESP is a fucking fantastic manufacturer, so it's like the best of both worlds.
Yeah, and Kramer already had this down to a science by now. They were selling huge amounts of guitars.
Yes,
but there's one other factor that we didn't get to that we've mentioned in previous shows. The big loss for Kramer was their investment in that Gorky Park guitar.
Yes,
the Gorky Park guitar.
The Gorky Park Bailaka. That thing was a piece of dog shit.
And
the Monsters of Rock guitars are garbage too.
Hey, somebody just bought one of those. They're messaging me.
I think they're good guitars, but they were definitely a marketing thing that they were trying to get money with the Van Halen signatures. But that Russian guitar was the winner. Because that thing looked like a fucking garden tool. You couldn't even play it, and no one cared about Gorky Park, and they made a ton of the fucking things. Yeah. So that was just like throwing money into the fucking dumpster and lighting it on fire. So, but with that said, during the heyday of the hair bands, Kramer's were fucking awesome. I love these. 88 Pacer.
It's a great example, though. The Kramer giving way in the 80s to Ibanez in the late 80s and early 90s is the exact hair band to grunge band thing. Like everybody went from Kramer and ESP and Charvel to Ibanez and Deane and Schecter.
Well, you can't say Ibanez because the Gems were like the flash of hair band.
It's still the greatest shred guitar I've ever played as a Gem.
They're terrific, man.
Yeah.
The neon green, neon pink, and neon yellow.
Hell yeah.
And then the Universes. I mean, those were glam guitars.
Yep.
But definitely like something like the Deane, or I mean, even during the grunge era, I mean, they went for like old Fender Mustangs and just
Jag-Stangs,
garbage
ugly
looking
guitars.
the ones that you still find in like pawn shops, and you're like, $100.
Yeah.
No,
I've actually just passed them by. I would our friend Dane Zimmerman, who has Zim's guitars in Mesa, Arizona, has a bunch of Jag-Stangs and shit like that just sort of hanging on the wall. Nobody wants them. Nobody cares.
But his are better if you need one and you want to play grunge. Go to Zim's Guitars in Arizona.
He won't sell it to you.
Yeah,
he'll just tell you he's got them.
But he'll tell you about them, and you'll learn a lot. It's like show and tell guitar on the wall.
I always wanted a Jag-Stang. I thought those were cool.
But you grew up. You like grunge.
Yeah.
See, this is what it's taught. Paulie and I grew up with something different. We grew up with this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I had the Focus guitar. My first real guitar was a Kramer Focus.
Kramer, and those have a first real guitar.
those used to be the greatest bargain on the internet because nobody knew they were ESPs. Now, good luck. But back then, back in the beginning,
Johnson.
Back in the day, you could get. I think I bought a Focus 1000. I think I may have paid $115 for it off of eBay in like 1998. It was a great guitar. I ended up selling
people
it.
People were very surprised how well they were made because they were an import. And that's bad buzzword. But
nobody knew who Electric Sound Products was at the time.
But there's a difference also between an import like ESP or Ibanez and an import like, hey, that place in Indonesia,
Court or Hondo.
Hondo, yeah. But there you go. This week's show and tell guitar, 1988 Kramer Pacer Custom 1 in beautiful hollow flash finish, which is a personal favorite finish of mine. I love these, not the copies, the original factory ones. But again, you could have this process done to your guitar nowadays at a lot of different places. But the original ones, these are for me. I love them.
Mike Neese, Samick makes some great guitars, believe it or not. Samick is a very, they're hit or miss.
It's like
if you get a good Samick, good for you. But
Samick.
Mac.
Yeah, I had a pastrami and cheese Samick earlier.
Guess who plays Samick?
Mac.
Samick made the early Epiphone Les Pauls with the tapered open book headstock that were only made in 1988, 89 are Samick guitars, and they're very well made, with the exception of the tuners. You just replace the tuners and the toggle switch like you have to do on every import guitar.
Yeah, and you replace
guitars.
And you replace the pickup, the bridge, and the neck, and you've got something special.
No, you know what I mean. The tuning keys are always shit on an import guitar, and unless you get actual Grovers as opposed to the Stamp Grover knockoffs.
Yeah, I mean, there's good stuff on a lot of. If you get a used guitar, see what mods they did first. Don't just assume it's garbage. So you know. But there you go. Let's see. Let's bang through the rest of the news that we missed. So that. Did you hear Sharon Osbourne has come? Yeah, I'm sorry, that's terrible. No, we don't wish anything on Sharon. Okay. Brian Wheat of Tesla wrote an autobiography coming out today called Son of a Milkman, My Crazy Life with Tesla. And so there's a good Christmas gift for you. And he basically talks about how he had an eating disorder while with the band and kept that a secret. If you guys remember, Brian Wheat was the bass player at Tesla. Big guy, chunky guy. And
yes, not tall.
Yeah, if you looked at the photos, and again, Tesla was one of those bands that was all substance and not a lot of image. They weren't really into the glam image, even though they were in the hair band era and whatnot. They weren't dressing up in leather and fringe and whatever. They just were, they were a hair band, but not like a lot of spray and makeup and shit. And
they're an excellent band, and their entire catalog is worth owning.
And an underrated band, 1,000 Ways from Sunday. But if you notice, Brian Wheat was a big guy, and he kind of stood in the back and hit a little bit, but he had a big battle with an eating disorder. He would say, while everyone else was meeting groupies, he would run to the bathroom and start putting his fingers down his throat because he was so insecure of people taking photographs of him meeting people. And this went on for a number of years with the band. And now he's more at peace with it. He's, learned to love his own body and whatever. But this is something that usually you think of as a girl problem, not really a guy, much less a rock star in a band that's doing well.
Full disclosure, Brian is a personal friend of mine. He also deals with some other things in that book that you don't hear a lot of musicians admit to. The eating disorder is one of them. He also has an autoimmune disease that doesn't help with him because he takes prednisone, and that causes you to gain weight as well. And he deals with anxiety issues. Brian has some depression and anxiety and things that have affected him and his social interaction over the years. And it's a great book, and he's a great dude, and they're a great bunch of guys. And it's an honest read. And he admits what was going on in the band and how dysfunctional that band was. And, Brian is a straight shooter. It's a really good book. And he wrote it. It's not like somebody else
autobiography.
Yeah.
And this is the time to support something like that. I've been telling you guys over the last few weeks, buy Phoenix Vanderweeden's new album, buy the new AC/DC. Here's another one for you. Buy this book, because these are the rock stars you love. And this is a chance for him to actually make some money.
Yeah.
Which is nice to see after like all that they've done for us entertainment wise, that, now with the streaming and he's making 40 cents out of every download over the last 20 years. This is something you want to read. I love books about back in the day. So I'm certainly going to order a copy.
And knowing him the way I do, it took a lot of balls for him to write this book. Because, if you think a musician thinks that their songs are like babies and nobody likes to have their baby be ugly, imagine bearing your soul as to your own emotional issues and obviously the eating disorder and all the stuff that kind of comes with it. It takes an incredible amount of courage for somebody to admit those things. Anybody can write a tell-all bullshit book, but somebody that goes out there and talks about their weaknesses and their flaws and stuff, it's both therapeutic and incredibly brave for them to do. So I'd highly recommend the book. He's a good dude. Brian's a good guy and deserves to be supported. Look, the Tesla guys are a great band. There's a great example of a band that, because they didn't have any image, like during that time, that 80s period that we loved all those bands, some of them were way more flash than substance. Tesla was the other side of that. They were way more substance than flash. They were a lot like Humble Pie and Free and Bad Company, where the music was way up front and really good. And they just weren't full of shit. They were not Hollywood. They were a Sacramento band. They're meat and potatoes guys, and write great music. And it stands up today, 30 years, 40 years later.
Yeah. Again, it wasn't about the image. It was about the substance. They wrote a lot of great songs.
Yeah.
And
still do.
Yeah. And glad that they got back together. Like I told the story, Jeff Keith was found in a strip club as the DJ, and someone eventually came up to him and said, you guys really got to get back together. Like, just give it a try, and convinced him basically, all right, you know what? Maybe not such a bad idea. Let me try.
It was a guy named Pat Martin in Sacramento. He's the midday personality at 98 Rock in Sacramento. He's been friends with him for a long time. And he asked them to reunite for a show, for one of the station's holiday shows, to do one show, get together. And they all actually agreed to sit down with therapists. And originally Tommy was still with the band. And
Tommy Scooch.
Yeah, Skio. And they all sat down and went to a therapist and went through therapy and made some adjustments to their lifestyles and cut a lot of the drinking and drugs out. And decided to give it a second run, and it's been a nice run for them. And they have really sort of come back around to be one of the more dependable bands. Now, are they headlining hockey arenas? No. They're playing theaters. They're playing theaters, and they're playing package tours with, like, Def Leppard. Believe it or not, Def Leppard has Tesla. They're really close friends, to the point where Phil Collin just produced the last Tesla record, Shock. It sounds a lot like a Def Leppard record, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but I'm not sure that it's congruent with what Tesla does. But it's give those guys credit for taking chances and doing things and still banging out great music in a time when a lot of those bands have fallen by the wayside.
Yeah, and they were never a stadium band. They were always an opening act.
Yeah.
But like, they were a great opening act, or maybe co-headlining a bill.
Yeah, they were not. It wasn't a band that was going to sell out an 18,000 seat arena, but they could play amphitheaters, and fill 12,000 seat amphitheaters, things like that. And yes, great band on double bills. They opened for David Lee Roth several times. They go out with Cinderella. They went out with Def Leppard. They're one of those bands that was right on the. Yeah, they're one of those bands that was right on the periphery of being big.
If they
and their big songs are massive. Love Song is a massive song. Call It What You Want is a great song. Obviously their cover of look, Tesla is responsible for the Unplugged rage that happened in the 90s. Tesla
five-man acoustic jam, the song Signs.
Yep. They were the band that kicked that thing off.
That's what I always thought was that.
Yeah.
No, they were fantastic. Still are fantastic. Jeff sounds as great as he's ever sounded. They
and he has a range. He has a tremendous range.
They go out and they bang it out. He's got, again, there's a raspiness, a humble pie free. If you like choir boys, London choir boys, raspiness, just a great bluesy hard rock band that should be bigger than they are. But I'm glad they're as big as they've sold like 18, 19 million records. They're doing okay.
I'm going to put this out there. I think if they had gone with more of a glammy image, I think they would have made it as much as the other guys that they did.
Their music is equal to and better than most of their peers.
I agree with that. I'm just saying, the age of MTV,
right?
They needed that push.
Yep.
They needed that extra little over the edge to push it. And I think if they would have gone a little further with their image, I think they would have gotten that.
If Appetite for Destruction hadn't come out when it did and popped when it did, Mechanical Resonance would be the best album of that time. That's how good that record is. But
Great Radio Controversy was amazing. I mean, they're so solid.
Mechanical Resonance. Mechanical Resonance is second only to, for me, and that during that 2-year period of 86, 87, Mechanical Resonance is second only to Appetite for Destruction for me, for my ears. I love that record start to finish. It's a really good record, and it deserves to have been bigger than it was.
And they're also, and we've talked about this before, they're also one of those bands you could play through the album, and there's usually not a dog in there.
Nope, and the songs are really well constructed, well produced, very separate. Frank and Tommy were a great guitar duo. Dave Rude is the guitar player that's been in the band for well over a decade now, and is a great dude. Tommy Skeo's a nice guy. He recognizes that he was in a bad place and he had to be asked to leave Tesla. But again, great band, great solid rhythm section. Troy and Brian are look, I'm biased. I'm friends with them, so it's not fair.
I'm biased because I love them as a band. I'm biased because I love them as a band.
Give him a call. Get that guy to read his book on here.
I'm calling Brian right now.
Have him give my mother a copy.
I'm calling Brian right now. I'm not kidding.
Ask him if his ears are burning.
Yeah, I know, right?
I wonder if this is the right number. I hope so.
What is it?
Watch, it's my mom. It's my mom. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Wheat. It's Paul Marshall. What's up, man?
Hey, buddy. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just letting you know right now. I'm actually on a YouTube stream show, and we're plugging your book.
Oh, thank you, buddy.
You're welcome.
And we've given away 100 copies to our audience.
Show or something?
Yeah, you know what? We should do the radio show. And we'll talk about it when I'm not on YouTube so that people don't hear our private conversation.
You want me to have Jody reach out to you, or you want to just set it up with me personally?
We can do whatever you want to do, man, but I just wanted to let you know we're trying to sell books for you.
I appreciate that, Paul. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, brother.
Tell them we've given away 100 already.
I don't know what she's got set up, but I was thinking about you today when I was looking at your Facebook. I go, it'd be nice if maybe I got on the show and talked to Paul a little bit.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do the show. You tell everybody I said hello. We were just talking about how brave it was for you to admit, some of the autoimmune thing and the anxiety thing and the eating disorder, and that's not something. It takes a lot of balls for you to do that. So we were pointing out how great that is.
Well, you know me, I got big balls.
All right. Well, we won't tell
no
that.
No one knows it like Paul.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, we're live right now, Brian.
You gotta tell me, man.
I just did twice.
He's like, Paul, don't tell him about that time we met at the glory hole.
Let's do it.
All right, man.
I appreciate that. All I can tell you is that putting that stuff out there is kind of liberating. It kind of allows you to let it go.
Yeah, no, I totally get it.
That's kind of why I did it. Hopefully someone, if they can relate to it or have the same issues as me, they can go, well, look, this dude's got it. He's in a rock band, so I'm not the Lone Ranger.
No.
Not me, them,
No, you could be the Lone Ranger, though. You'd look good in the mask.
Yeah, well, okay.
Keep it kinky, baby. Keep
Dude,
it kinky.
I just wanted to let you know we were plugging the book, and you and I, we should get together and do something on the show, all right?
Absolutely.
All right.
Take care, buddy.
All right, be safe, bro.
Thank you.
Later.
Bye-bye.
There you go. Brian.
Brian Weed, everybody, from the great band Tesla we were just raving about. I'm glad you told him we were on the air. The first thing I always do is, hey man, we're live right now. You come on the air with us.
I just told him.
Paul just goes after the fact. Hey, what are you doing? Nothing. I was just home masturbating. And wait, we're what? Live? What?
I just first thing I said to him, hey Brian, just want to let you know we're live on YouTube right now, plugging the book.
There you go.
And that was the first fucking thing I said to him.
I don't think you got it, because he said a few minutes into the convo, he's like, wait, we're live now? We're live now? Wait, what?
Yeah. So there you go.
There you go, lady. The great Brian Weed of Tesla.
Somebody better buy the book now.
Yeah. So again, the name of the book is Son of a Milkman, My Crazy Life with Tesla. And again, this is the time you want to buy copies of this book. It came out today, and it's stocking stuffer time. It's time to give some gifts that are not expensive, but people appreciate. Obviously, we have a big audience that loves bands like Tesla, so this is your target audience right here. If you have any friends or relatives that watch the show or like Tesla, which it's got to be a bunch, this is the time to look at something like Brian's new book.
I'm actually texting him to apologize for putting him on, by the way.
Yeah, there you go. I do that to my mom all the time. I text her and, hey, I'm sorry I had you on the air. What? You didn't tell me. Speaking of projects of people we support, January 15th, mark your calendars. Mean Man, the story of Chris Holmes, comes out January 15th on DVD, Blu-ray, or video on demand. Now, again, this is the documentary of Chris, including tons and tons of footage of his home movies and finding out, what he's doing now, what he's thinking of his old bandmates in Wasp. And, again, he's got a lot of bad blood there. So it's a lot of interesting history to check out. And, look, Chris is a great guy. They're living in France right now. And he has a lot of stories to tell, obviously. From that whole swimming pool thing to early days of Wasp to, his life after Wasp. And, he's played with just about everybody. So check that out.
I think it's an interesting, essay on his relationship with Blackie Lawless, how mad he is at Blackie Lawless. If you see some of the interviews that have been going out about how he was sort of screwed out of all of his royalties, he didn't say that he wouldn't get back together with Wasp. He did say that he wouldn't get back together with Wasp until he got paid.
That's it. And that's reasonable. I mean, look,
yeah,
none of us were there, but with that said, a lot of us know the general history of it. A lot of us know that he was screwed out of royalties of songs that he co-wrote and stuff like that. And, it's the classic story of the rock industry. Someone's always left holding the bag, and in this case, it's Chris Holmes. So yeah, he's bitter, but look, the guy loves to play. He does solo stuff with his band. He's still doing videos. And this documentary is really, really cool because it's like just following him in his daily life. And then suddenly you're going to home video of backstage at a Wasp show in 1983. And it's all those intercuts and back and forths of all that stuff that, he's been a part of that history,
Yeah. And Wasp, another one of those bands that more image than substance, that the image probably overshadowed the substance, but the substance is pretty good. Those first 4 Wasp records are fairly good records. Everything after the Headless Children is sort of hit or miss. But when they hit, they were fucking outstanding. And again, it coincides with Chris's involvement in the band. The stuff that was done with Chris wasn't in the band isn't as good as the stuff that was done when he was in the band.
Electric Circus was terrific.
Yeah. And Kill Fuck Die, which is the record that he came back for in the mid 90s, is the best thing they've done since Electric Circus. And they haven't done anything as good as that since he left.
Was he on Crimson Idol?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah, I think so.
Was that like his last one?
Yeah, I think
Call
so.
him and ask him.
I want. Yeah, I know. Get him on the phone.
I feel bad. I hope Wheat's not. mad.
I do know.
Call
I do
Brian
know
Reed and ask him.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't have just called him, but fuck it.
Take another shot. It's all good. Hey, listen, let's go through our phone books today and surprise everyone. We'll just have surprise phone calls to everyone. It's like, Tracy Guns, how are you, man? Huh? Who's this? Hey, it's Mancuda. What's going on, man? Hey, did I mention 20 minutes later? Hey, we're live on the air, by the way.
Fuck you! I told him the first thing out of my mouth was that, hey man, we're live on YouTube. And
he didn't catch it. He didn't catch it. He didn't put two and two together. He's thinking like, oh, earlier you were on YouTube. Oh, cool, thank you, man. It's like he didn't think like, hey, wait, I'm on the mic.
What was the first thing that came out of his mouth? Hey man, I was wondering if you wanted me to do the show.
Yeah. There you go.
I was thinking about you earlier.
Wow, that was weird. Yeah.
That's when I call Lita Ford. I was thinking about you. Mancuda, I told you not to call me. Don't make me issue those papers. Lita, look, Mancuda, seriously. Hello, Sandy Soraya? Who's this? Mancuda. Hello?
Sandy's Brian's ex-wife.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Call her now.
I had a massive crush on her.
She's still gorgeous. She was gorgeous. She's still gorgeous.
Talented.
Yes. If you go and yes.
Bring up that cat, Johnny.
If you
show him the cat.
If you go to the second Soraya record when the Blackbird sings.
Great album.
There are a lot of similarities tonally and song structure.
Hey, that's funny because Tony Ray was on that album. There you go. Check it out. Look at that cat.
That's good. Looks like
great,
he looks
right?
like
it's Wilfred. It's Wilfred.
He looks like the master in a Bruce Lee movie.
He's or Planet of the Apes. He's Dr. Zaius's father.
Yeah.
Let's call David Crosby.
Oh, that would be so good.
Oh, I would so do that.
I would
so do that.
I would do that.
I don't know him though. I don't have his number.
Call Crosby. Crosby will answer.
Let's call Crosby. Yeah, let's call Sammy. Let's call Crosby.
Let's call Crosby. But if you go to that second Soraya record, when the Blackbird sings, and listen to that record, and then put Tesla's Great Radio Controversy on back to back, you A/B those records. Sandy was spending a lot of time in the Tesla rehearsal studio.
Influence, yeah.
Jay.
No, Jay, we got into a spirited discussion that took up a lot of the day.
Sorry.
So no, don't be sorry. That's the fun of live TV. That's why we do this. This and the big bucks. Let's see. So going on to Chris Holmes. So we'll call him later. In France. Speaking of promoting stuff, now this is for next year, but just again, set your calendars. If you're a Pretty Maids fan, Ronnie Atkins, who's the frontman of Pretty Maids, did a solo album called One Shot that gets released March 12th of 2021. And I'm a huge Pretty Maids fan. And I'm looking forward to that because I think they're super underrated. Again, European band, didn't break out big in America, but over there, very big.
Yeah, I've got the first three records and I like those. I lost interest probably fourth record in, but
an hour ago.
Savage Heart is
Good night, David Ennis.
Is amazing. Good night, David Ennis.
So good to see you, David Ennis.
Yeah, it's good to see him.
And we'll be seeing you for Christmas dinner, David Ennis. So we'll be over your house with appetites in tow.
Hi, buddy.
Yeah, but Future World and Savage Heart, and these are very big songs over in Europe that didn't break over here. But you know what? If you like
Future World is the only video that anybody knows in this country. It's the one with the Barracuda driving across the desert.
There you go. But Savage Heart did like 4 versions of it. And if you want a great song, Savage Heart is that's my favorite Pretty Made song, and it's terrific. I mean, 4 fucking versions of it. Live and
interesting. I have one of the Pretty Maids records I have is incorrect on the disc. The disc and the album spine are 2 different album titles. Hang on a second. I gotta grab it for you because it's an interesting misprint.
Thank you, John B. We appreciate that. And we haven't said hello to Lindy Lou and Mary. Hello. And Dane Zimmerman in the house. We were talking about guitars you won't sell. Good to see you again, Dane. And by the way, if you're watching tonight and you're having fun, leave us a thumbs up. Please hit that like button. We appreciate it.
All right. So obviously you got Pretty Maids. This is Red Hot and Heavy. If you're into that, that has the nice price, by the way.
Yeah, I like the nice price.
The nice price, and it's nice price, and it says hard and heavy. So you know how old how old this disc is. Yeah, this is actually a Japanese one. And then this is the one everybody in the United States knows, Future World.
Yeah, that's the popular one out here.
That's the one everybody knows.
And it's a great album. It's a great album.
But this is the one that's interesting because it's called Lethal Heroes, right, on the front. But on the spine, it's called Jump the Gun.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
Is
it a double album?
No, it's just Lethal Heroes is the name of the record.
Well, that's interesting.
But for whatever reason, Jump the Gun was what it was called on the spine. It's a misprint of some sort.
I don't have my copy handy, or I'd take
and you can tell it's a promo because it's been punched out.
Yeah, look at that cutout.
Yeah,
but Jesus Christ,
that's
really I can fit my dick through that hole.
Again,
with plenty of room.
Hello, Sherman.
Hello, Sherman.
All right, get off me.
Yeah.
Go to bed soon. Shit.
With who?
Almost 10, man.
Brian Wheat.
Oh. It's like, I'll call you later.
Well, I just texted him like, man, I'm sorry. I know I didn't want to put you on the spot. He's like,
I've seen that stupid show. The guy in the pink is an idiot. He thinks the fucking 80s lasted the whole 80s.
He thinks the 80s lasted into the 90s.
I'm in a metal band, and even I know that.
It just occurred to me. He's in New York.
Oh.
I just called him at 11 o'clock at night.
Hello? Wheat! Who's this? It's Paul Marshall. You're on the right on the what? Who is this? That's why he didn't know where he was. The guy's asleep.
Holy shit! Let's call him at 11:30 at night. Holy
John,
what an asshole!
John B, you don't have to do pink, man. That's my signature color. That's all good. It's me and CC DeVille and breast cancer awareness. Yeah. XKM Rock just said he woke up. He thinks it's still the 80s right now. Huh? What? Oh, we got a show? We got no weed. It's Paul Marshall. Huh? What are you, the tour bus driver? Am I on the bus? Where? Oh shit! I'm home. What am I doing home? Shouldn't I be on tour? What year is this?
I just wrote to him, dude. I mean, I'm not helping. It's like fucking midnight there now. I'm like,
listen, man, leave me alone.
No, that's what I just said to him. I just go, hey man, I forgot you were in New York. I'm really fucking sorry. He writes back, no worries, my man. I'm like, good. I'll leave him alone.
I just fell asleep. Leave me alone.
Yeah, dipshit. The fuck was I thinking? I'm an idiot.
Why are you trying to push that fucking book?
I thought he was still on fucking Sacramento time. I forgot he moved.
Listen, man, I'm just trying to get away from all this shit. Leave me alone.
Dude, he's a solid dude. They're such good dudes.
Nice. I take your word on it, man. A friend of yours is a friend of mine that doesn't want to be a friend of mine.
Oh boy.
Stop texting me, Paul. Stop.
Dipshit.
Even my mother is texting you right now. Paul, stop texting
Yeah,
me.
why?
Dokken.
Well, you know, every once in a while you do shit you regret.
My parents know it every day.
On Tuesdays?
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially Tuesdays.
It's Tesla Tuesday. You should have told him it's Tesla Tuesday.
No,
Oh, we could have pushed that.
Call him back.
No.
Well, you know, Johnny, in the title, we're putting in as an interview with Brian Weed of Tesla.
Interview was fucking 2 minutes.
Hey, was it an interview or not?
Wasn't an interview. It was a hey man.
Questions? Did you ask him any questions? Hey man, how you doing? Oh, okay, but there's a question. That's an interview.
Yeah.
That's as close as we're getting.
Exclusive.
Yeah. Everyone now knows about that book. I'm telling you, I'm right now. Everyone's on Amazon pushing that thing.
How many people are watching right now, John? Do we know?
2.
Awesome. That's because the show is fucking 4 hours long.
Yeah. Yeah. And how many likes do we have? 2.
And one of them was Brian Wheat.
No, that was the thumbs down. Brian's like, wake me up, motherfucker. Interview, huh? 2-question interview.
I didn't interview him. 7 thumbs down. Come on, man.
Well, that's all the Kiesel employees.
Oh, why did you guys have a bad Kiesel moment?
Well, yeah, we did
early in the show.
We did push Kiesel a little bit.
Did you?
Yeah, a little bit.
I missed that.
Well, you can watch the rerun.
I might.
Yeah, check out the first 5 minutes.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we had some serious technical difficulties in Beane land.
My power, as soon as I was hitting the button to turn my camera on, my power went out.
Yeah, we have
a rolling blackout.
Maybe.
The chickens have the air hockey machine on again.
That will happen.
If we have 75 thumbs up right now, can we bring that to 100? If you're watching now and you have not left a thumbs up, please take a second, leave a thumbs up. My mother right now. Oh no, I'm leaving it.
All right, are we done?
I think we're good, right?
You showed the guitar?
Let's show it again. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, today's show and tell guitar. Johnny.
Awesome.
There you go. Let's see. So we got the Weed interview out of the way.
We were planning that all week.
Yes, that was
Johnny's
planned spontaneity.
Do you think we could get Paulie to like call Brian Wheat for this book? Doesn't he know that guy? Yeah. He's yeah.
If I'd have thought about it, I probably wouldn't have made the call.
That's what Brian wished. It's like, man, I wish that guy would stop calling me. What
is the thing? We haven't spoken probably since the beginning of the lockdowns. We spoke to talk about how this thing affected their road crews and stuff like that. We did it on the air, talking about how their road crews and all those guys were sort of screwed because, I mean, let's face it, the industry shut down. And then we haven't spoken since then. And then that call, and then we won't speak again until we do the interview for the show. And it's like, you know, hey man, how you doing? How you doing? What's going on? Nothing.
What do you want? What do you want? I was sleeping. Honey, who is that? It's Marshall. Is it him again? Don't worry. I'll get him.
I just love it. Hey man, you want me to have Jody call you? Or do you just want to call me? Fuck, I just called you.
Well, you plug the book. That's all we need.
He was all, I just told him, you know.
Hey,
we're not on live, are we? Yes. Just fucking said it.
Wait, what? I'm not even dressed, man. I got nothing on but a ball gag and a smile.
Shit.
Yeah, speaking of road crew, we were talking last week. Foreigner was selling all sorts of gear at auctions to raise money to support their road crew.
Yeah,
Jeff Pilson was plugging that. And again, I didn't call Jeff, but I know it's true. I'm just You've never heard of them, Johnny? They were one of those 80s bands that were popular that qualified as an 80s band. Urgent.
Yeah, but their biggest song was
a
what
power
was it?
ballad.
What was
Was watching
something years?
Waiting for a girl like you.
Huh? Oh, I'm thinking about
Guns N' Roses.
Lou Gramm.
Midnight Blue.
That was his solo. Came after he left.
John Biel. Who did the song I'm talking about? Like it was huge. And it was in the 80s.
They had a lot of hits.
Yeah. The first 4 Foreigner albums are pretty much fucking must-owns.
Oh, Jukebox Hero. There you go.
Yeah, Waiting for a Girl Like You and I Want to Know What Love Is are their 2 biggest hits.
I think I Want to Know What Love Is probably the biggest one, right?
Yeah, that one or Waiting for a Girl Like You. Those are 2 big fucking records. I Want to Know What Love Is was a massive record. Still a massive record. Still gets played every day on, elevator stations.
In elevators?
Yes.
Yeah. You know what sucks is when I'm walking in the supermarket and I hear Motley Crue. Like literally, it's now like over. Now they have that piped in music. You're shopping. Yeah, I'm like, oh, Uncle Ben's. They still have the black guy on the box. No, I won't support that. Wait, what's that? Start My Heart. What? Meanwhile, some kids are like, we got to get out of here. This music sucks.
Yep. Whole Foods. What the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah, because I'd shop at Whole Foods.
No, I didn't say Krell. I said Prell. All right, I got to go. The dogs are wanting to go out.
I think
it's 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I think we've beaten this one to death. Johnny's still looking up the songs.
Yeah, what was that one song? There was that one song that was huge.
Indiana, Let It Go.
They have huge fucking songs. Foreigner.
They have a lot of songs.
It was a huge band, John.
Johnny's just discovering Foreigner. He's like, it's like, wait. I know some of these songs.
Mm-hmm. No, I know a Foreigner because of
because Mick Jones produced 5150.
Yes.
Double Vision, Hot Blooded,
The Dirty White Boy.
What's the song I'm thinking of? There was that ballad.
How would we know that, John?
We just gave you their 2 biggest fucking ballads, and you didn't acknowledge them.
We gave like 6 or 7 songs already.
Was that
Johnny's like Something Box Heroes.
What band am I thinking of then? It was a song called like the Living Years.
That's Mike and the Mechanics, you moron.
Oh, Mike and the Mechanics. Okay.
Yeah, that's not even close to Foreigner.
I like them better. Okay.
Holy shit. What a stretch that was.
Wow. Okay.
It sounds like Foreigner.
You thinking of the song Silent Running? Can you hear me?
Yeah, how about that guy that sings Susudio? What's his name?
Holy shit. Mike and the Mechanics from Foreigner? How did you get there?
That's some jump, man.
Bill Collins?
Well, that sounds like Foreigner. That sounds like Collins. I would have think that was Lou Gramm singing that.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's okay.
No, you know what sounded like Foreigner? Bad Company when Brian Howe was singing. That's what sounded like Foreigner.
Go ahead, feed the monster, Paulie. Feed the monster. Thank you to our channel members. How
the fuck did you get to Mike and the Mechanics?
Hal Face, James Gum, David Crosby's a dildo fucker, 802 Blues, Mr. BHB Jr., that's Bruce, Mr. Let's see, Frag 5150, Pal Guitars, Dan Halen, Frank Corcoran, Ben Tom, Thomas Santiago, Brian Spalding, Fender Guru, Music Therapy Laz, Ghost BC Rich, Hugh Caldwell, Jim Nicholas, Jesus Rapes Me, Randy Price, and Steve Carmichael.
Steve Carmichael.
Steve Carmichael.
Steve Carmichael. Also, let's thank
and all those people.
Charles Green, PK County, Michael the Captain Smith, David Ennis, Mike Neese, Richard Poole, Linny Lou, and Mary, Gargets Entertainment, Sean, Susan Silvestri, Mickey Settlemeyer, Joe Christian, Nicole Mrazek, Sean Boland, Wayno A. Jesus, Johnny, could you make these any smaller? Jarhead Rock.
I make these on my phone.
I know, and you're so lazy with them. Jarhead Rock, Stephen Franklin, Will Starr. You're like, where can I fit another name if I make it really small? David Shea Gomery, Bo Zeke, Crazy Cook 678, Carol Hatcher, False Flag, Margaret Scranton, Sean Silas, Julia Baldessari, and KXM Rock. And if all those names would leave a thumbs up right now, we would have a plethora of thumbs up.
A plethora.
Plethora. A plethora.
Would you say that we have a plethora?
A plethora. You Hanukkah plethora.
What do I look like? Some sort of boil?
I like how you did the joke with the tiny lightsaber moil to Baby Yoda.
Well, you guys, clearly somebody is telling me it's time to dance.
It's time for the duty dance, Daddy. Give us a walk.
All right.
Everyone, look, if you're out there, happy Hanukkah. If you're celebrating, if not, we'll talk Christmas next week. And of course, please be safe out there. We care about you. We love you. We appreciate you. Wear a mask, wash your hands, social distance. We will all get through this together. Right? Right, everybody? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, buy Brian Wheat's new book because we owe him now.
Yeah, we owe.
Listen, man, I'm going to be ordering 7 copies just to say I'm sorry. Son of a Milkman, My Crazy Life with Tesla by Brian Wheat. Out today. Check it out on Amazon. And thank you, everybody. We love you. Rock on.
Good night, everyone.
Meh.
I don't like this. Look at this moron Huda, this David Crosby schmuck.
Who is Brian Wheat anyway?
Meh, Tesla. They were an 80's band, but only for the second half.
More hits than I did as a solo artist.